What a great time of the year. I love this time of the year. By the way, Big Sills is never late. We are on Big Sills time. How you doing? That's right. We are on JAKIB time. We have our own clock here, baby. Don't forget also Birds 365 right after the program, where Big John McMullen will give you the latest on what's going on. Looks like a walkthrough today, so all good. By the way, rolling towards that September 4th kickoff, we appreciate it so much. Thank you, guys. And we implore you to please hit the like button. Also, Super Chats go to the top. We appreciate that. Cannot wait for that September 4th game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, I'll say this to you. What an entertaining day yesterday. That was great. We kind of told you flat out at the beginning. Got to wait and see what that Landon Dickerson tear is going to look like. I'm going to make a proclamation. I do not believe he makes the opener. Or more so than anything, I bet you the Eagles will – I bet you they will side on the side of precaution and not play him in that opener. Prediction! Landon Dickerson will not play in the opener September 4th. Okay? He will not play in the opener. I don't really think you need him to destroy the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. I do not think you need him. One player is not going to be the difference in that football game against that crummy team. You know what I would like to – I'll tell you what. How about this here, M. Reyes? I'll tell you what I'd like to see him do. Maybe something like he did in the national title game. Go out there for a couple series and then kind of call it a night, you know? Just to get out there so he could be part of the opener on September 4th. I think that'd be a pretty cool idea. Then get him out of there. Because, again, this is about the long game here. This is not about a game against the Cowboys. Albeit, I get it's a division game. But you really don't need that dude to beat that stinky-ass team. You're going to need Landon Dickerson against the Rams. You're going to need him against the Chiefs. And you're going to need him against the Bucs. And I would think against the Broncos, too. So that Cowboy – would we not agree the Cowboy team out of the first five, M. Reyes, I'll go with you here. Out of the first five ball games, the Cowboy roster, at least right now, is the least of those five teams, right? Still, there's a symbolic thing about having him out there for the opener. I think you're going to, absolutely kill that team on September 4th. I mean, I'm burying the lead now. I don't think that thing's close. 31-17, sure, okay. You know? Side on the side of precaution. You know, I mean, listen, you can't have a football organization and take precautions against injuries. They're going to happen. That thing with Landon Dickerson was a freak injury anyway. So I think out of the first five games, there's no way you need that guy if that guy goes out there and injures himself more in that game, God forbid, I'd rather have him get hurt in a Chiefs game than I would in the Cowboy game. Especially, how close it's going to be to the surgery. So I don't need that. I need that guy later in the year. I need that guy as we get to the playoffs. He's an important part of your journey in what you're going to do. So here's the latest on the injury here and how I look at it. We had Dr. Chow on with us yesterday. You can go back and listen to that interview. And Dr. Chow said basically really some great news here. Now, again, that's an Eagle release, folks. You know how you can tell it's an Eagle Bob Lang special? It's formulated and constructed that every other news outlet has to put something in there to protect themselves to make sure that, best case scenario, that's something that a news outlet puts in there to protect themselves in case that guy cannot play any significant parts of the first half of the season. They don't want to put themselves out there like that. everybody knows injuries and recovery are different. And especially with a guy who's had nagging injuries in his knees. And he even had a procedure this offseason. So you really don't know. Now, here's my question. Who are you more concerned about? Cam Jurgens' back or Landon Dickerson's knee? Heading into this, have we seen Cam Jurgens at all practicing, or is he going to play any in this controlled and joint practice that they're going to have with the Browns? Has he participated at all in any drills? I'm asking for a friend here. Okay, I don't know. I haven't really. It's not been a story that's been covered. He has not participated, right? They got him kind of on a pitch count. So that's going to be concerning to me a little bit. Now, we'll talk about the joint practices here. So here's what I would expect for Landon Dickerson over the next, how many weeks we got into the opener? 3? Something like that? 3 weeks into the opener? This is what they'll do. They're completely going to rest this thing. And I doubt they'll have any mobility at all when it comes to him on the bike. Here's the one thing that you have to make sure and you have to keep account on. He's conditioning. Does he do stuff in the pool? You put him in the pool. He can walk in the pool. Whatever you're going to do, make sure he doesn't get too far out of shape. Because big guys get out of shape quicker. So conditioning will be a factor. You know how you get hurt in football games? You're out of shape. So keeping him and his conditioning for these next 3 weeks are going to be a big deal. The Eagle medical staff has, in my opinion, been pretty good. I disagree with some of the comments that people say about these guys. I think they do a nice job at taking care of their players. Speaking of that, Bernie Kosar, live from a surgery bed in Cleveland, Ohio, will be with us. He's part of the broadcast team for the Cleveland Browns. By the way, I ask you guys, all sincerity, go gentle on my guy. He needs a liver transplant. And Bernie is a Youngstown icon and a Cleveland Brown icon. That city of Cleveland loves that guy. He is one of the most respected men in Cleveland sports history. Took those Browns to 3 AFC championship games. Okay? Make no mistake about it. One of the true icons in Cleveland sports is Bernie Kosar, and he's a former Miami Hurricane, and he's a dear friend of mine. And we will, by the way, Jim Kelly is also tomorrow. We have, I believe we have Howard Eskin tomorrow. We got a bunch of people on the show tomorrow. We got a bunch of people all week long that are going to be joining us. So we're looking forward to that. Hit the like button, guys. We appreciate you very much. So, look, you guys got to really, I think the Eagles really got away. I don't want to say away because, again, that sounds bad. I think the Eagles really got a great break. This thing could have been more significant. Now, the key is going to be making sure that the Eagle medical staff takes care of him. What do you guys think? I don't believe they should play him in that Cowboy game. So we're working on Battle Royale probably on Thursday. Okay? Should they play him? Yes or no? I'm saying right now, no. I'm saying no. I think you rest him. You're going to get this. Now, look, if he's ready to rock, I'm not going to stop the guy. But if we're talking about, you're getting a surgery. I don't think they've got the surgery yet because that swelling has to go down. Okay? The swelling has to go down. I need that guy for the season, not for the Cowboy game. Don't rush him back. Absolutely, Hollywood. I'm not rushing that guy back. No way. Let me tell you what I would do. If I were the Cowboys, I would make sure I lined somebody up on him all the time and power rush him and bull rush him. And I would do everything in my power to make sure I'm testing that knee out to whether or not that guy's healthy. Folks, it's not cheap football. It's finding a weak link. If a guy's hurt, they're going to go after it, just like in hockey. So you want him to be able to protect himself when he gets out there. I want him in the Kansas City game. The Cowboy game, I think you're going to kick the shit out of him. I do. I think KC, you want him. Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate it. All right. I saw something pretty interesting, and I want to get you guys' view on this. Let me bring this up. I didn't really go into it, and I didn't really look at who was making this and making this list up here. And I didn't really see this here. And so I didn't really see who was part of this survey that did this. I guess every year, Mike Sando from The Athletic contacts 6 GMs, 6 assistant general managers, 6 former GMs, 5 executives, 8 current head coaches, 9 other coaches, and 15 coordinators. It's a 50-person panel. And they talk about the quarterbacks in the NFL. So this is pretty good here. This is not just media, guys. This is not a media conversation here. This is more of what the league perception of you is. I think the quarterbacks on this list and how the league sees them, I think it's really, really interesting here. So let me read it one more time to you. This is Mike Sando from The Athletic. And again, I kind of glazed over it yesterday a little bit because of the Landon Dickerson news. So let me look at this a little more here, and I want to hear what you guys think of this. So one more time. This poll was done by 6 GMs, 6 current general managers, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former GMs, 5 other executives, 8 current NFL head coaches, 9 other coaches, I'm assuming wide receiver coaches, defensive line coaches, including 15 coordinators for Sando's 50-person panel. And he came up with the perception of how the league looks at these quarterbacks. The elite quarterbacks in the NFL are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, and Stafford, according to NFL executives. Those are the 5 best players at that position in the league, according to NFL executives. Okay? Read them again. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, Stafford. That's right. That's kind of how I see it. Those are the 5 best players. Now, again, these aren't the 5 best teams. These are the 5 best players. Now, see this here? When this guy says this, nobody's talking about the 5 best teams. They're talking about the 5 best players. You can have one of the best players in the NFL on a shitty team. Do you not understand that, Philly? Just because Nolan Smith is on the Philadelphia Eagles doesn't make him the best edge rusher. Or that Devontae Smith is on the Eagles, that doesn't make him the best wide receiver. You can have the 5 best players in the league not be on good teams. The quarterbacks have nothing to do with how you build your football team. Get this. That's because you're not a Hurts guy. No. No. If you're a Hurts guy, you're telling me that you think, listen to this. This is what this guy's saying here. He's sitting there saying that Kansas City, which I happen to agree, Kansas City's been the best franchise the last 6 years. There's no doubt about it. Joe Burrow's on a horrible franchise. Josh Allen has been on a horrible franchise. Lamar doesn't have the excuse. It's not a great franchise. Stafford has been a success in Los Angeles. He's won a Super Bowl. I mean, he's not been successful. Okay? Nobody's talking about your team here. They're talking about the best players in the league. Like I said, you don't have to have the best quarterback in the league to win the Super Bowl. I think you get jaded by that. Get this, how are the Eagles the best franchise in the NFL when Kansas City's been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls and they've won 3 of them? How's that possible? How is that even remotely possible that you would think that, M. Reyes? They've doubled you in Super Bowl appearances and in wins. How in the world could you say the Eagles have been the best the last 6 years? That's so far from the truth. It's not even remotely close. It's not close. Okay? It's not remotely close. Okay? Yeah. 4 of the last 5 years, they've been to the Super Bowl. And by the way, they've beaten you too. Look at this one here. Here, what excuse are you making here? Yeah, I know. The Eagles didn't play on that field. I mean, Kansas City didn't play on that field, right, M. Reyes? I know. What a stupid excuse. So let's look at the second guys on how they look at this. Jaden Daniels at 6. I think the rankings are irrelevant. Okay, I do. I think the rankings are irrelevant. I think those 5 guys, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, Stafford, they are the best. You want to rank them any way you want. I don't really care. Mahomes has to be sitting at the top. And the second tier with 6 GMs, 6 by the way, this isn't media people. This is how the league sees your guys. You get this? Folks, this is how the NFL sees these players. This is not how the media sees it or how I see it. This is how the NFL sees these guys. You could say whatever you want. These are NFL professionals. GMs, assistant GMs, former GMs, 5 current executives, 8 current NFL head coaches and 19 other coaches, and 15 coordinators. This is how the National Football League sees your guys. And he put this panel together. They got Daniel 6, Herbert 7, Goff 8, Stroud 9. That ridiculous comment about C.J. Stroud taking a step back is just asinine. He still put his team in the playoffs. He's a rookie, and he's coming out of the Deshaun Watson nightmare. I think he's been fabulous. Shockingly fabulous. And C.J. Stroud is tied with Hurts. Mayfield is right there. Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, and Brock Purdy. Those are your second group of players. Would I put anybody else in there? Rodgers is too old. No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Look how many players Jalen Hurts is perceived by the league to be better than. Tagovailoa, first round. Murray, first round, first pick. Trevor Lawrence, first pick. Geno Smith, second round. Bo Nix, first round. Sam Darnold, first round. Drake May, first round. Caleb Williams, overall number 1. Bryce Young, overall number 1. Kirk Cousins, heck of a player. That's pretty good company that you've got where Jalen Hurts has come from. That's pretty good stuff. Number 1 overall picks. They've got him perceived as being better than. I absolutely think that there's no disgrace in that. If Jalen Hurts is a second-tier quarterback with a first-rate resume, well, that's what you want. You want a guy to be able to over-deliver. Hurts, of all these guys, Patrick Mahomes has over-delivered. Joe Burrow, I think, personally has under-delivered because of his injuries. Josh Allen has by far over-delivered. Lamar, 32nd pick in the draft. I don't think he's over-delivered. I don't think he's under-delivered. 2 MVPs, revolutionizing the position. That's a tough one. I get the postseason. You are playing against some of these other players in the AFC. It's a tougher road to get. Like I said, how about this one? I think it's tougher to win the AFC than it is the Super Bowl. I think it's tougher to win the AFC. Matthew Stafford has over-delivered. Jaden Daniels, too early. Justin Herbert. I do not think he's under-delivered. I do not. It's the Chargers. Brandon Staley? I want to see him with Harbaugh. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's a great talent. Jared Goff, interesting. Has he over or under-delivered? He's over-delivered. He's been to 2 NFC championship games on 2 different teams. He's taken the Rams and the Detroit Lions to the playoffs. I mean, he's gone to 2 NFC titles. Got beat by the 49ers 2 years ago. And he's the number 1 overall pick. I think he's over-delivered. Stroud, completely over-delivered so far. Hurts, way over-delivered. Mayfield, under-delivered. Prescott's over-delivered. He's a 5th-round pick. He's a 4th-round pick, excuse me. I'm not sure what you expect him to do. But now that he's a $60 million guy, you can make the argument the last couple of years he's under-delivered because of the money. Jordan Love. I mean, I don't get it with him. Jordan Love. I mean, I think Jordan Love's a good football player. I do. I think Jordan Love is a really good player. Okay? I do. I think he's a good football player. But boy, man, I just haven't seen anything. I think he's good. Brock Purdy has over-delivered so much that it is ridiculous. He's one of the best draft picks in the last 25 years. Why? He's the last pick in the draft. He's taken a team to a Super Bowl. He's got a winning record, and he's done things that nobody thought would ever be done for a guy who was the last pick in the draft. Name me another quarterback in the last 25 years that was drafted in the 7th round that took a team to a Super Bowl. Name me one. Name me one quarterback that was a 7th round pick. That would be the same as Tanner McKee leading a football team to a Super Bowl. That's Tanner McKee. Okay? That's Tanner McKee. Well, that's great. I said 7th rounder. Okay? And he earned himself a contract. I mean, end of the day, right? I mean, I would listen. I'm talking about where these guys were selected. Sills, this has to be so nuanced for a guy like Lamar. I think a nuance for a guy like Lamar. I think he's too much of a reason for the playoff losses, and the Ravens are too loaded for him. I think even though he has won a lot of games. Okay, listen, Curtis. I think it's a great organization too. I think he's a great football player. I think when he gets in those football games, I do agree with you. I think that you can't give him a pass. I completely agree. Once again, Tom Brady's a 6th-round fucking draft choice. Listen. Name me a 7th-rounder that's taken a team to a Super Bowl. End of story. Stop. There isn't one. Okay? There isn't one. Jesus criminy. I mean, okay. Kurt Warner wasn't drafted. Again, name me a 7th-rounder that's taken a team to a Super Bowl. He was a 2nd-rounder. Okay. Well, obviously, we have idiots in here. Okay? Obviously, because you can't hear me. There's no 7th-rounders. Okay? Right. And Kurt Warner was a UDFA. Holy shit. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, my dog Stevie, how you doing, buddy? Has more common sense than some of you idiots. At least he knows not to shit on the bed. He shits on the floor. How you doing? Based on the offseason, has your Super Bowl prediction changed? Have I made one? Jeff, have I made one yet? I want to maybe get closer to the season. I may revamp it. I don't have the Eagles in a Super Bowl this year. Just so you know. We don't need an elite quarterback to win. Exactly. It's proven. Hurts is a really good quarterback and an elite football player. Absolutely, Angelo. Absolutely. He's a really good football player. Nobody is debating that. Okay? Nobody is debating that. Again, see this fucking dickhead? In the last 25 years, name me a quarterback who's been a 7th-round pick, take a team to a Super Bowl. Listen, douchebag. Did anybody say Tom Brady? Oh, my God. We're going to move on here because too many idiots in here right now. So let's go here. Trevor Lawrence is in 3rd tier. Sam Darnold, get this. Look where Trevor Lawrence has dropped. Kyler Murray, underachieved. Tagovailoa, underachieved. Trevor Lawrence, underachieved. Caleb Williams, underachieving. Bryce Young, underachieving. What do they all have in common? They're number 1 overall picks. Look who's in like the 4th tier. You've got Russell Wilson. You've got Justin Fields, number 1 pick. Michael Penix. You've got Dimes Jones. Flacco, okay, he's older. Anthony Richardson is awful. Spencer Rattler. These are your 4. That's a horrible group. Again, folks, this is not me. This is how people see your guy and the rest of the league. Nobody in Philadelphia would agree with this. Okay? But that's irrelevant. That's how NFL executives look at Jalen Hurts. I'll tell you what, though. If you asked all those executives about the intangibles that he has, every one of them would put Hurts number 1. It's not a rip. You do not have to have an elite player take your team to a Super Bowl. I don't know how many times you got to be told that. Sills, it is true that you don't need an elite quarterback to win, but only the GOATs keep going back to the Super Bowl over and over. It's truly why, in my list, Hurts will never fall out of the top 5. It's true. You get back there for a second time, you validated a lot of things with me. It takes a quarterback that can compensate for roster changes and injuries and coaching changes. Okay? Why are we worried about what others think of Jalen? Nobody's worried. We're having a conversation. Obviously, conversations like this bug you. Facts, he does have Okay? You should rephrase it and say you don't need an elite thrower. Okay. Okay. David, I'll take this. I'll take this. I like that, David. You should rephrase it, Sells. You don't need an elite thrower. Hurts is an elite quarterback for today's position. Okay. David, that's a great take. That's not awful. It's actually probably more in line with how people see it. That's really a good take. Hold up, Sills. I'm hearing you give Hurts his flowers. He'll never make it out of your top 5. I've said that since February 10th. Have I not been consistent on with that? Has anybody heard me say anything other than that since February 10th? Has anyone heard me not put him in my top 5 since February 10th? Anybody in here? Has anybody said that or heard me say that? I'm talking about how perception is. Okay? I do, because I laugh at others' list. I do. Huss, you hear what you want to hear what I'm saying. I've never deviated since February 10th that he's not been in my top 5. You're hearing things, not me. I'm not saying anything. I have been 1,000% consistent since February 10th, 2025. When I said this, when that guy won that Super Bowl, he is not out of my top 5 quarterbacks. I don't know what else to say to you. I'm trying to show you this, though. Is he in my top 5 as talent in the league? Absolutely not. I'm not sure he's in the top 10 when it comes to quarterback talent. But that's irrelevant. You could be the most talented person on the planet and not be a good NFL quarterback. The talent and quarterbacking are two different things. You don't have to be the most gifted guy on the planet. You don't have to be. Tom Brady does nothing exceptional except win. That's right. It's a great example. Jeff George is one of the most gifted players I've ever seen. And he had a 10-cent brain. And he had 10 cents worth of courage. Okay, here's a great one. I saw Mitchell Trubisky over the weekend, and I think he's in Buffalo, right? He's a fucking great talent. There's something missing, though. Okay, 10 quarterbacks more talented? Easy. Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, Stafford, Daniels, Herbert, Stroud, Mayfield, Golf. Yeah. Has nothing to do with winning. Take any one of those guys. Joey Harrington had talent when he was at Oregon. Got into the NFL with the Lions and blew. Nobody's talking about Super Bowls. Super Bowls don't validate a career. Remember that. You don't make it to the Hall of Fame for Super Bowls. You make it to the Hall of Fame for how you played in the game. Now, look, when you're a multiple Super Bowl guy, you're going to go like, well, unless you're Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett's got 2 Super Bowls. He's not in. How come Jim Plunkett's not in? Jim Plunkett's got 2 Super Bowl wins as a starting quarterback for the Raiders. How come he's not in? Hook me up on that. Why isn't he in? Here's another guy. Ryan Leaf had such great talent. He just couldn't control himself. And Eli was better. Sills, do you think Allen, Burrow, or Lamar would be able to handle the constant changes of the OC? Good question. I don't know that. I know that when Lamar had a brand new OC go in and they took Christensen out and then they put Todd Monken in, it elevated his game to now where he's, he's elevated his game. I think they get ahead of their skis in the postseason and don't know how to beat the Chiefs. I think you throw less against Kansas City, not more. All great talents. Jay Cutler, Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb. Michael Vick is a more talented quarterback than Jalen Hurts will ever be. Is he a better quarterback in the game? No, he's nowhere near Jalen Hurts. Nobody had more talent than Michael Vick. He is probably the poster child for everything dual threat that's exceptional. Massive arm strength, exceptional speed, exceptional arm talent. Obviously, though, what was missing? Seeing the game, the intangibles of working hard. Remember what Vic said? I didn't really read a playbook until I got to Philly. Well, that's not going to win you any Super Bowls. A guy like Jalen Hurts will beat Michael Vick in a game every day. Obviously, talent doesn't mean shit if you don't translate on the field. So who the fuck again, bro, it's called sports talk. We're having a conversation. You don't like it? All good. Okay? Jesus Christ. Come on, John. Cam Newton, crazy talent. Cam Newton's one of the most talented. Here, this is a better one, RC. This guy here was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. This guy here, Randall Cunningham, was one of the greatest talents I have ever seen in my entire life. But what happened? They didn't give him good coaching. He didn't have good players around him. They were one-sided on the side of the football when it came to defense and the head coach. This guy was a good player too. I thought he was overrated though at LSU. Okay? I ain't ever seen Patrick Mahomes punt the ball 90 yards. Well, people forget that Randall Cunningham was the first team All-American punter when he was in Vegas. Okay? That's how he made the All-American team. He didn't make the All-American team as a quarterback. Randall Cunningham was the best punter in the country. I know some people don't realize that. He was not an All-American quarterback. He was the All-American punter. He did both at UNLV, which is insane. He's the All-American punter, and he's one of the most gifted quarterbacks that we've ever seen in the NFL. His talent was off the charts. But again, it never translated to wins that mattered. They couldn't do anything in the postseason. They had some pretty good talented players on offense too. Keith Jackson, Keith Byers. I mean, they had people, Randall, right? They just didn't have an O-line. They didn't. Let me say this to you. If that Randall Cunningham football team had today's offensive line, the Eagles would have won 4 Super Bowls. He would have won 4 Super Bowls. He would have beat those Giants teams. And let's not forget, this is pre-free agency. 49ers had an insane roster. The Giants had an insane roster, and so did the Bears. When you constructed great football teams back in the 80s and 90s, those guys were going to be there for 10 years. It's harder to build a champion. What Howie Roseman is doing today, okay, and building a football team is insane. You know, if you want to make a comment here, and I've got to change my opinion on him, okay? I'm trying to think of the greatest general managers in the history of the NFL. And when you're putting a salary cap in, so let's just do this during the salary cap era of 1994. 94 and on. 94 and forward, okay? Who's a better general manager? Probably what? The guy, Scott Pioli and Nick Caserio, are the best. In the salary cap era. Why? They won 6 Super Bowls. And they did it with talent that was not exceptional. The best general manager since 1994 is Nick Caserio and Scott Pioli. They were the New England Patriot general managers with Belichick. Ozzy's up there. But they won 6. Okay? And you couldn't name a first-round pick on those Super Bowl championship teams in New England. Can you? That was on offense? Name me a first-round pick that won those 6 Super Bowls. Name me one first-round pick. One first-round pick that won Super Bowls that they drafted on that offensive side of the ball. So he's the best GM. Okay? He's the best GM. Maybe Matt Light, offensive lineman. Maybe him. I think so. Okay, I was more talking about the skilled guys, but right? They didn't draft LaShawn McCoy. They didn't draft him. Probably the guys in the O-line. Yeah, probably the dudes in the O-line. They drafted in the first round. I would say that. No skilled guys. There's not one skilled guy in New England that won Super Bowls that they drafted during the entire era. Not one. How's that for you about GMing? You want to know how to draft? Watch what New England did during that entire era. Okay? Sony Michel at the end from Georgia. But those 5, 6 Super Bowls. So they had Sony Michel as the only guy in 20 years that was drafted in the first round. Okay, one guy in 20 years. One guy. All right. So again, the perception. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Matthew Stafford. This is how executives in the NFL see it. That's right. Stafford a little bit long in the tooth, though, but I get it. If he's healthy, he's one of them guys. And get this. I would make this point. Jalen Hurts in that second tier? Okay. Sure. Daniels, Herbert, Goff. Think about this here. Let me ask you guys a question here on this second tier list. Ask yourself this. What is the one thing that Jalen Hurts has besides the Super Bowl that's different from the second tier guys? Okay? Or the top 10. I'm not going to go the whole list, but I'll go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 down. Daniels is 6. Herbert is 7. Goff is 8. Stroud and Hurts are tied at 9. What did the bottom 5 in the top 10, according to the NFL executives, what's the one thing Jalen Hurts has different? All the rest of those guys were first rounders. Every one of those guys were first round draft picks. Daniels, Herbert, Goff, and CJ Stroud. Hurts was a second round pick. As a matter of fact, if you want to go to the top 10, look at this. First round Mahomes, first round Burrow, first round Allen, first round Jackson, first round Stafford, first round Daniels, first round Herbert, first round Goff, first round Stroud, second round Hurts. Clearly underdrafted. Number 1, okay, who's the number 1 overall picks in this top 10? Burrow, 1. Stafford, 2. Daniels 3. Golf 4. There's 4 first overall picks in that top 10. Jalen Hurts has elbowed his way into the class where perception is if you're not a first-round pick at the quarterback position, the perception is always, again, Jalen doesn't beat those guys, dude. Your team beats them. Daniels was the second pick in the draft. Let's see here. Stupid conversation there with that one. Randall is Josh Allen today. I think Patrick Mahomes is more like Randall. Okay? Ty Law and Brady are the only Hall of Famers from those teams that were drafted from New England. Isn't that crazy? That shows you the incredible talent and how they drafted during that whole Super Bowl era. Isn't that crazy? That Ty Law and Brady are the only guys during that Super Bowl time that were Hall of Famers. That's insane. Don't ever tell me Howie Roseman was a better general manager than a guy who, at the end of the day, I mean, the guys that won those Super Bowls, think about it. It was Edelman and Amendola. Gronk was a second-round draft choice. Brady was a sixth-round pick. What are you talking about here? The Eagles are loaded and littered with first-round picks. There were no first-round picks in there. Couple in the O-line. Late, too, with Sony Michel, who wasn't special, who they used to deactivate all the time. Vinatieri was actually, Junior Seau was drafted by the San Diego Chargers. And Vinatieri was a New York Giant. They didn't draft him. What, dude? What are you talking about? They didn't draft those guys. I think he's talking about offense. And Vince Wilfork's not a Hall of Famer yet. Yet. Howie Roseman better than Buffalo Bills general manager? Yes. With an elite quarterback, how you doing? Howie Roseman better than the Buffalo Bills general manager? Okay. Brandon Beans, I don't think he's shit. All right. You didn't say, I did say drafted. Hurts allows the Eagles to build a team around it because the winning all other, dude, that's not true. They were doing the same process in 17. They're now building it more through the draft. The culture's been intact post Andy Reid. They are making it better right now, for sure. It's taken the Eagles 25 years to get where they are right now in running their organization. That's why the Cowboys can't duplicate it. They don't get it. Okay? They were just, it's taken them this long. Bro, you don't become great like that overnight or over a 5-year period. You don't. And, Kim, they found him in the second round out of Arizona. You want to make it even more crazier? Kim, he didn't really have a good senior year. They didn't have a good senior year when he was at Arizona. They brought him in on his visit. He fell asleep on his visit. It's someone's take is that the Eagles beat the Bengals, so Jalen is better than Burrow. I should stop trying to argue. That's right. Don't argue that. Because the Eagles beat the Bengals, Eagle fans will try to tell you and convince you that Jalen's better than Burrow, which is asinine. And Curtis, you're right. Don't debate that. Don't let them talk until they're blue in the head because it's not true. That is not remotely true. The Eagles beat the Bengals, so Jalen's better. Yeah, okay. Sure. In your mind, okay. Sills, I agree with you. Defense is built in the draft and is looking to finally get paid, but the offensive guys have mostly been paid so far. Well, got a salary cap you're going to have to deal with. Okay. So you think since 2021, you think your drafting has been elite, huh? Okay. You think, how's the Kobe Dean coming? Did Jordan Davis, has he lived up to, in your opinion, to his draft status? You think Sidney Brown has? Has Keely Ringo? There's no doubt. Here's who I think since 2021. Okay? Cam? Let me take a look at that. It's a good question. Since 2021, Eagles draft. Eagles draft history. Let's take a look at that. You say it's since 2021, it's been elite. Okay. Devontae Smith, Grand Slam. Landon Dickerson, Grand Slam. Milton Williams, you get credit for that. Grand Slam. Zach McPherson. Kenny Gainwell, he was a good player. You get credit for that. The rest of those guys, whatever. But the top of that draft, Devontae and Landon and Milton, great. 2022, Jordan Davis. I don't know. I don't really think he's lived up to what they thought he was going to be, but he's not a bad player. Cam Jurgens, everything they expected. Kobe Dean, injured too much. The rest of those guys, Calcaterra gets credit. He's a 6th-round pick. Calcaterra, get this. Calcaterra is actually a better pick than Kobe Dean. Why? Well, at least he plays. He's a better player. Well, how about this? He's more reliable of a player. Is that fair? Let's see here. 23. Carter. Excellent. Smith. I don't know. We'll see. I think so. Steen. Sidney Brown, no. Keely Ringo, no. Tanner McKee for sure. More. Get this. Your back end of the 2023 draft looks exceptional. Tanner McKee and Moro Ojomo. I mean, that's pretty good. And Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, that 23 draft since 21 might be one of your best, if not the best. 24, Mitchell, DeJean, Hunt, they look great. Shipley looks okay. Smith showing something. Trotter could start. Keegan, I'm waiting. I don't think Johnny Wilson stinks. Then we got to wait and see what happens with this group. So all in all, you're not wrong. It's pretty good stuff. I would totally go with you on that. Sills, how many teams in the last 30 years have won Super Bowls with at least 3 or 4 Hall of Famers? Give me a break with the team, super team. That's what teams with Super Bowls with talent only the sports world hate on. What are you talking about? What are you saying here? How many teams in the last 30 years have won Super Bowls with at least 3 or 4 Hall of Famers? Well, you have on this team right now, Landon Dickerson and Mulata could easily be in the Hall of Fame conversation. You're telling me Saquon Barkley's going to be a Hall of Famer. You're telling me Jalen Hurts is trending towards being a Hall of Famer. There's 4. Brady played with 2. Gronk will be 3rd in 25 years. Okay? I think the Eagles have a super team. But you don't get penalized for that. Barkley will not make it. Not in my book. No. He doesn't have a resume. One season doesn't get you to the Hall of Fame, guys. Chris Johnson and Jamal Lewis had 2,000 rushing seasons and a Super Bowl. Jamal Lewis has a Super Bowl, too. He's not in. He's a 2,000-yard rusher. How come he's not in? Welker will never make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay? See this? I'm not going to continually have to give this guy a reach around because I've told you numerous times I do not penalize anybody. You are the one that penalizes the other teams. I don't penalize anybody for being on a good team. You do. You penalize for people for being on a shit team. So why the hate on what hate am I talking? I'm not answering this. There's no hate on being on a good team. Where are you getting that from? Sills, did Bernie Kosar? I think Bernie did replace, maybe it was Brian Sipe. It might have been. By the way, Bernie Kosar will be with us from a hospital bed. He's part of the broadcast team for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, well, wake me up when ifs become sures. Barkley's going to have to do 2K again. That's right. He's 68th right now in rushing in the NFL's history. And he's 27 years old. The chances of that guy putting 5,000 yards rushing by the time he's 32 is slim. Sill's talking about Brady Edelman will never make it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ever. Guy's got 8,000 receiving yards. Are you fucking crazy? Curtis, God, I'm starting to hate that comment about not knocking Hurts for having a great team. It's their go-to. Nobody's knocking him. I'm not going to keep – hey, Curtis, excuse me. I'm not going to keep quantifying that. Get this. That's not how I see it. I read you that conversation about how executives see it. I'm talking about how the league sees it, not me. Says, you pissed me off, but I love you. Still coming to Philly week 1? That's the plan, dude. Got my ticket the other day. They got to get a hold of our guy in Philly's dad died. So they've got to work on that stuff, though. I know this week they're going to reach out to him. Xander and Big Joe. Of the 9 running backs to run for 2,000 yards, only one quarterback threw for 3,400 yards. The rest didn't throw for a ton of yards. Why do you discredit Jalen's performance in 24? Nobody's discrediting him. It was a Saquon Barkley run offense. Nobody's discrediting. The offense went through Barkley. Didn't go through the quarterback. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Don't get butthurt, guy. Super team is a poverty franchise fan narrative to defend a choking quarterback or failing ownership. More so the failing ownership or both. Yes. Okay. And Philly. So Philly would try to tell you that all those good quarterbacks are on great franchises. Yeah. Okay, guy. Shitty take. Sills, I really like Darius Cooper. I saw today Michael Clay was they're trying to find a spot for him. I get a Deebo Samuel vibe too. I do get a Deebo Samuel vibe. Okay, let's see what stupid take this will be. Sills, not you. You're not the haters. Okay, my bad, Richard. I apologize. Not the haters, the ESPN and everyone else. I don't penalize Jalen for that. I think it's wonderful that get this, Richard. I would say this to you, Richard, that I think it's tremendous that an organization does the right thing by a quarterback. That I think it's fantastic. Let's build around him. Let's get great players around him. Let's spend money around him. Let's do everything Jerry Jones won't do. I think it's great. The commitment to wanting to win. Here, I'll show you something here. The commitment to wanting to win is clearly in Philly. It is clearly in Philly. There is no doubt that guy wants to win. Sills, with all the money on the offense, would that be able to cover for any missing time that Landon may miss? I think you're inexperienced in the backups. Like here, if you don't have Landon Dickerson starting for you in that Cowboy game, who are your guards going to be? In your opinion, who will be the starting guards? Matt Pryor and Tyler Steen, right? Do you think that's a drop-off from a year ago? when you had Becton and Landon Dickerson. Okay, Steen and Tooth. Okay. Steen, Tooth, and Pryor. Okay. Or whomever. Do you think that's a drop-off? And I'm hoping Cam's going to be good. Now, the question will be, what type of drop-off? Okay? Okay? So let's say that CB2 doesn't pan out this year. Is there anybody I should keep an eye on for college football? We'll do a little bit of that. I saw somebody mention something about Jerome. You want to repost that, go right ahead. That, without a doubt, is going to be but again, I don't think you have to worry about that in that Cowboy game because I don't believe the Cowboys' interior defensive tackles, I don't believe that those guys are going to be able to wreak havoc. Run the ball, man. Of course it is. What kind of question is that? Of course there's a drop-off. Hopefully being with Stoutland. Okay, agreed. Stoutland, that's a big ask. Rams had O-line injuries and are thinking of putting Becton back out at tackle. You're probably thinking Chargers because he's there with the Chargers, not the Rams. But I got your point. Putting Becton out there at left tackle, where his normal position, because of the loss of Slater, that could be something to think about. But if I'm Mekhi Becton, why would I want to go there? For those of us old enough to remember, when did Tom Brady start getting credit as a quarterback? Third ring? That's a great question. You know what, Fish? I don't think Fish, would this be something to think about? Thank you for the super. I didn't think Brady got credit until he got to Tampa. I think everybody really thought that Peyton Manning was better. The narrative is that I don't think Brady really got credit until he won that Super Bowl in Tampa. You know how many people thought Peyton Manning was a better player? Shannon Sharpe used to go on Fox Sports all the time with that undisputed thing, and he used to say Peyton Manning's a better quarterback. He used to say it all the time. Side note, I saw your show in January. I couldn't stand you. But when you shared stories about Jerome and your time at Miami, been a fan ever since. Love those stories, brother. Thank you, David. That's kind of how my show works with people. You hate me at first, or you hate me, and that's why you're here every day. Because, David, get this. It's the only place where people get to come here and share their feelings about the show, about me, about my takes, and we don't block anybody. Try that on a radio station. You'll never get on the air. They'll never see your views. You see about 15% of the people in here talking shit on me. I just ignore it. But that's okay. You want your opinion about me, my show? I don't stop you. That's something Xander and I had an agreement on. We don't stop you. If you want to say those things, more power to you. I have never had a problem with somebody giving their views on me, my show, my takes. I put everyone on. And that's why it's debate. You can call me names. You can call the show names. You can agree. One thing you have to agree on, it's the only platform in sports talk in Philadelphia and around wherever you're from where you get to vent your opinions and no one stops you. Am I right? Am I right? Exactly. How your show works. We love to hate you, Sills. Thank you for the soup. Thank you for the super comment. I appreciate that. Sills, I'm worried about the Eagles. Uh-oh. Here's Paul. Pump's been on his game lately. By the way, Bernie Kosar will join us at the bottom of the hour. Bernie's going to need a liver transplant soon, folks. So do me a favor. Be kind to the man. He's got a lot of health issues. When you play in pro football, the game's not kind to you always. Okay? And he's a brother of mine. And so the game's not kind to all of us. Some it's harder than others. Bernie's a great man. Okay? And the guy is one of the greatest competitors of all time. University of Miami is nowhere without him. All 22 is out. My brother Joshua and Zeus look like some bag of ass. Both getting washed in the run game. I saw that. I agree with you, by the way. Richard, thank you for the kind comment. We appreciate that. Okay? Thank you. Pump, how you doing? I am definitely worried about the DEs we have setting the edge against the run. That's right, Curtis. That's going to be an issue. Okay? Let's see here. Seals, do you miss me? Yeah, like hemorrhoids. Nolan was lost early on. Took time. Took Vic, you mean? Right? It took Vic Fangio, you mean? Uche Kuche. Looks slightly better. I got to get to my topic. Shit, I've just been talking here. Joshua Uche Kuche and Aziz. Was that Aziz talking today? Holy shit, man. Aziza Ujalara and Joshua Uche. Uche Kuche. Those are your edge guys. All right. Seals, you really think Tua can last another season? Nope. I do not. Joshua Uche Kuche and Azizi Ujalara. Dime store guys. Dime store Cowboys. Looked lost, but was still a great edge. Come on, man. Azizi Ujalara. Like the Jamaican bobsled team. I typically can't listen to you unless Xander is on with you. Okay? All good, Edward. By the way, Edward, I know. People told me this for a long time. Sills, I've listened to you for 35 years and I hate you. Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you. I guess. Right? Nolan Smith was getting washed like a pair of socks until after the bye last year. He got it together after that. He sure did. It's because the interior defensive tackles were playing well. Don't you get it? If the two tackles are playing well, traditionally your edge is going to play well. Especially Vic mixing and matching. Nolan Smith can't play on the strong side. He's got to be the will. You're not putting Nolan Smith on the strong side. You're just not. He's too small. We don't hate you. We just hate your takes. Okay. Thanks for being here and thanks for the super. You're the gym teacher from Hey Arnold. Yeah, well, I don't watch weirdo shows like that. The gym teacher from Hey Arnold? Yeah, okay. Well, I don't watch whatever you watch. Hey Arnold? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger? I love me some Pump. Sills, you and Xander are a great team. That's for sure. Absolutely. All of us here at JAKIB. Your uncle from the what? From the what? Oh, by the way. Great guy. Hate the takes. That's because they're truthful. Like Sills would know a cartoon from 25 years ago. No, the only cartoon I know that's right now is you. The king, right now, M. Reyes, the king of masturbators. That's what we got here, man. We debate here, And M. Reyes is the king masturbator or debater. Did I say that wrong? If I did, I apologize. He's right, man. He is right, though. You're asking me what I remember from yesterday. Ask me what I ate yesterday. I fucking wouldn't have any idea what I ate. Relax, kid. Don't get your panties in a bind. Jesus criminy. This guy gets pissed over spilt milk. Oh, God, he spilt the milk and he burnt the toast. Is that you? Shit. Holy, but on to me. All right. We got Bernie Kosar coming up here in a minute. I haven't talked to Bernie in a long time, man. Clams and oysters. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with clams and oysters, Junior. You ever eat seafood? Sills watches MASH. What's that? Watches MASH. Oh, the old TV series? Yeah, that's what I do. I watch it on my phone. Dude, what do you think I do at night, guys? You know what I sit around and watch? I watch the History Channel. I'm not kidding you. I watch the History Channel. I watch, what else do so you know what I watch. If sports is not on, I watch the History Channel. I love that movie Martian. Okay? I like that movie Martian. I like space movies. What else would I watch? I saw The Godfather the other day. Watch Fox News. Let's see what else. I like watching movies that make me feel good. A lot of History Channels, a lot of Discovery, Expedition Unknown. I like watching that. I don't watch regular TV, guys. I don't. So when you're telling me about these stupid things, I have no idea. Interesting, somebody would say that. Actually was called the Sam Kinison of Sports Talk Radio years ago. Okay? And I guess people have given me that tag because you never know what Sileo's going to say. Can you share any stories, your experiences on how steroids helped you as a player? And did you retain any of the gains when you were using? Got to remember, David, they did not become illegal until 1992. So everyone in the National Football League was using anabolic steroids. And they were not illegal. Then they became an Act 3, a Class Act 3 felony. Big Sills doesn't go to jail with dudes named M. Reyes. Soap on a rope. M. Reyes could tell you. 92 was it? Thank you, handsome. So 92, it became a felony. No. Big Sills don't go to jail. Okay, so yeah. Then what you do is, I was more of a supplement guy, though. Other things, growth hormone, things like that. Growth hormone's not a steroid. They actually give it to the elderly because, again, it was created for dwarfism. They're amino acids. People think that growth hormone, human growth hormone, is a steroid. It's not. It's an amino acid. And then amino acids are actually healthy for you. People take testosterone shots today because most people have atrophy as you get older and your bones break. That's why you see a lot of people. Okay, so human growth hormone is not a steroid. People always try to classify that. And when you hear these stupid reporters making those comments, they don't know what they're talking about. Let's see. Sills, back in the day, did you guys ever have joint practices? Yes. I don't remember it being a thing. It wasn't. Jason, this is how those things were. Like when I was in Dallas, we would scrimmage, like we were going to play the Chargers. Every year we played the Chargers and the Raiders because the Raiders were in Los Angeles at the time. So what we would do is we would go down to El Segundo, where the Raiders were. Okay? We would go down to El Segundo, and we would go down there and play. We would practice at their practice facility. Get this, Bo Jackson was there. Marcus Allen was there. And we were scrimmaging against these guys, and we would scrimmage against the Raiders. Matt Millen was there. Howie Long was there. Then we would go to the Los Angeles Coliseum on Saturday, and we would play. I get great pictures of me at the LA Coliseum playing football. I love the fact I got a chance to play at the LA Coliseum, and that was against the Raiders. I'm playing with Ed Jones, right? Then we would go back to Thousand Oaks, where we were practicing at Lutheran College, and we would practice there, and then the Chargers would come up, and then we would fly down with the Chargers, and we would play at Jack Murphy Stadium. Yeah, I think Alzado was still there. McMahon effed it up for everyone, Big Cells. Yeah, WWF didn't help. Dude, Coliseum, playing at the LA Coliseum. My favorite stadiums to play, obviously the Orange Bowl. LA Coliseum was fantastic. Lambeau Field, Florida Field. You know what? Xander will love this. I played at Legion Field in Alabama. It's in the southern part of the state. That's where Alabama played. I don't believe when Xander was in college, I don't believe they played there any longer. I think Alabama played the majority of their games at their home stadium and on their campus. But they used to play down, I think the Iron Bowl used to be played there at Legion Field. And I played at Legion Field. I played where Auburn plays at Jordan Hare. My God, I played in some really great plays. I played at the Vet. I played at RFK. Three Rivers, Riverfront. Absolutely. All right. Bernie's going to join us in a couple minutes. Did you guys hear Ty Robinson today? I played in Death Valley. Did you guys hear Ty Robinson? Did you happen to catch any of that? You catch any of the interview? Remember, everybody on our channel was saying how Ty Robinson had a great Saturday against the Bengals? Well, he kind of validated what I told you. He was asked a question about what was it like playing in that game and what were some of the comments made to you. He goes, well, I still got to learn to get off of blocks, especially in the run game and engagement. I'm not getting off of blocks good enough. I'm getting pushed off the ball a little bit. Now, that's a young guy's comment. So that's not out of the unordinary to hear something like that. Here's what he's having problems with. He's locking up with a guy, and he can't get their fucking hands off him. And those NFL guys, man, they're great and professional holders. Yes, thank you very much, Clairvoy. Everything that I told you, he's echoing. He's having problems. Like, watch. You know what this comes with? This is his hand placement. If you come outside and they get you inside, you're blocked. Nothing you can do about it. He's flopping. Here, let me go back here. Okay, you got a guy in front of you here. You need to shoot those hands in. Pop. He's doing this. And when you do this, what happens? He's inside you. And then he controls you. Remember something. You can run that guy over. But if he's holding you, he can just fall back. And he's got you blocked. You think you ran him over? You're blocked. Okay? So he's got to play lower. He's playing too high. It's a young guy's thing. And it's a guy who wasn't coached very well. I think he's got talent. But he's doing this. He's flopping. Happens all the time. boom, okay? He's got to shoot his hands in quicker, inside. You've got to keep that inside your shoulders because if that offensive lineman gets inside you here, you're done. The average offensive lineman will control you at any time he gets his hands inside you. And they're not going to call holding, especially on a young player. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. How do you do that? You got to play lower. He's playing too high, and he's flopping. And he did something, and he said something that I told you. He's stopping his feet. Stop your feet, you're blocked. He said it. You know, he goes like this, I have to move my feet more. Yeah, well, move your feet, stop flopping, play with leverage. That's all technique stuff. He's behind Jahad Campbell and Smile Munden. Those guys understand technique. Those guys understand leverage. Those guys understand pursuit. They understand pursuit angles. I understand now why Nebraska has blown on defense because he's just not well coached. That's something that you should have had coached out of you by your sophomore year, not going into the Eagles. I mean, he's so far behind. Like, Ty Robinson will probably be way better in the second half of the season once he learns how to play with leverage, once he learns how to play with his hands, once he learns how to move his feet. Got to keep those guys off you, man. Do me a favor. Next time you guys get a chance, get a video clip of Aaron Donald. Okay? Get a video clip of Aaron Donald and watch how he moves his feet and slaps his hands. He's constantly slapping his hands. Why? And he's playing over his pads so he doesn't fall down. Can't get those guys getting their hands on you, and you got to work angles. He's not working angles. Here, let me give you another example, what he's struggling with. Do I think he's struggling? I think he's struggling with just the smaller things. The smaller things add up in the NFL. I can't tell if he's good because he's been so poorly coached. Okay? I mean, yeah, he's got – you're telling me stopping your feet? Kid, that's football 101. And because you move your feet, you can get away with getting your hands and not being very active. You can't do anything when you stop your feet. You just can't. So he stops his feet. He's got trouble engaging. He has trouble getting off blocks. Well, shit, man, that's defensive tackle 101. So he's going to have and what I would say this, how you compensate for that, you got to get off the line of scrimmage quicker. Or you've got to slide out wider. Make that guy move his feet. The worst thing you can, you know what I see him doing? When I watch him, he doesn't make the guy in front of him. The guy in front of him doesn't respect him or any of his moves. Next time you watch him against the Browns. Okay? He doesn't trust him. He doesn't trust him. Okay? He just doesn't. All right. Guys, I haven't spoken to my friend in a while, and I got to tell you something here. My friend, there is nobody that is more important to the University of Miami than this next guest. He's the guy that told everyone around the country, guess what? I'm winning it. We had a game once in Tampa. You know what Bernie said? We got a lead on them. Bernie was praying that Florida scored so he could have 3 seconds left to beat those guys because he wanted to have seconds left in the game to beat those dudes. That's who this guy is. He's really one of the greats. And how I got to Miami, I remember telling my cousin Pazzulli, I go, hey, can you ask Bernie? Sure enough, I get a call from Butch Davis. That's how he became a Hurricane, is because of that. And folks, I'll tell you this, my friend is so important, part of the broadcast team for the Cleveland Browns. All those AFC championships. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has a national championship ring. And he is my friend, part of that broadcast team for the Browns, as the Browns will have joint practices with the Eagles. And also, we'll have that preseason game this weekend. He is our friend, Bernie Kosar. He joins us now.
Hey, Dan, great to be with you, brother.
How you doing, Bernie Kosar?
You matter, my man. I don't know where to start. I don't know how long the show is, but conceivably I could monopolize the next 3 or 4 hours going from the Dave Pazzulli shout out was awesome. But doing some of the University of Miami days back from the 80s to talk through some of the stuff we did in the NFL. Heck, the Browns and the Eagles are playing and practicing against each other this week, and it is kind of the 36-year anniversary of the Cleveland Browns and Philadelphia Eagles going to Wembley Stadium in London. We had training camp over there 36 years ago when the great Buddy Ryan was the Eagles head coach and Bud Carson was the Browns head coach. And and this is probably a family show, so I don't want to say. And I hope if any players on the Browns or Eagles are listening, they do not do what our two teams did then. They had a fight fest in London, England, for 5 days.
Okay. Hey, Bernie, first and foremost, man, how's the health? How are you feeling? How is everything going? I know you had a procedure. By the way, folks, you talk about gutting it up always. This is my friend here. I mean, how's the health, Bernie? How are you coming along here?
Well, thanks, Dan, for bringing it up. And in the spirit of levity and having fun and stuff, literally had a surgery this morning. And I'm super proud, to be here now after 60-plus surgeries, 80 broken bones, 100 concussions, 15 seizures. Last couple seizures, I was in a coma for 72 and 96 hours. So for 8 years now, to have not done any pills or drinking and to do this surgery today without pain medication, and then to be able to sit here today and pretend to be cognitively present and blink out a few multi-syllable words when, literally, Dan, for the listeners, I was told 7 years ago that I have early onset of Alzheimer's and I have 5 years left of cognitive brain function. I couldn't say cognitive. I couldn't enunciate, articulate, communicate multiple syllable words. So I don't say that to be on the show today to brag, but for some of the fellow players out there and men in our age, so many of us are challenged and somewhat afraid to admit some of the issues that are going, and then to make lifestyle changes. And I'm not selling, but some of the lifestyle, functional medicine things I'm doing to be able to be here. And again, doing a surgery this morning and being reflective as I'm in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter of my life, and thinking in 1989, being in London and Reggie White and Seth Joyner, the great Jerome Brown, Andre Waters laying on top of me. I'm like, guys, the game's not till Saturday, and we're in a melee fight on Wednesday on a live practice. So I see why I'm not north of 60 surgeries. I see why I was in the hospital this morning. I got why I'm getting a liver transplant. But for the people out there, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, amazing camaraderie. I say in jest, some of the guys, I was at the U yelling at Jerome Brown for not bringing down Doug Flutie on the Hale Flutie pass. And he was one of the few rookies that we let play on our team. And he was an amazing, awesome man and Philadelphia Eagle and a great brother of mine. And I was his older brother, the quarterback of the 1983 National Championship team. So I'm like, Jerome, like in 1989, how come you're punching me on the bottom of the pile on a Thursday practice? It's not even a game. I thought we were boys. I'm still having a fallout from that great man. I'm getting surgeries.
Bernie, let me go here with you on this too. Then we'll get into the modern day Browns here, but for you, as you get further out and you get further away from the things you did in Cleveland, you've got to be so proud of those teams. Marty Schottenheimer was on the coach of those teams that you guys had great success. You ran into a really great Denver Broncos team. Certain circumstances in those games obviously dictated the end of those games. But as you reflect back, Browns people look at you and they love you, man. You must really love that fact that how they receive you and how they revere you years later. I saw you with Taylor Swift in the press box like a year ago. You're hanging out with Taylor Swift. So, I mean, you've got to really love all the things that people in Cleveland and how they perceive you to this day.
You know, being proud to grow up in Northeastern Ohio, growing up a Browns fan, coming to the city and back in the 80s when it manufacturing, and almost like today when some of the jobs and things weren't as cool as they've been in other parts of the country and stuff, and to have a bring back an identity and stuff. Super proud of it. You know, Dan, and for the listeners out there, I like to pride myself on being a mature person and growing and stuff. But as a fellow Cane, you know that sometimes we're kind of good winners, but we're a lot of times bad losers. It's only taken me 35 years to quasi get over the John Elway issues in the 3 AFC championship games, but better late than never. I'm now really able to kind of enjoy it, you know, and be proud of some of the things that have happened, you know, and the kind of the resourcefulness that sports taught me. I mean, the University of Miami and the guys down there, Dan, you know how that formed us and really toughened us up for what lies ahead. And then what happened in football, you know, I really thought that that was going to be the apex of what we're doing. And I didn't know that it was really preparing me for life's lessons as we get into this fourth quarter of our life. I've been using the word late third quarter, early fourth quarter. But when you're diagnosed with early stage Parkinson's, early stage dementia, you're on a liver transplant list, you know, it's more fourth quarter or overtime. So you get more reflective and more appreciative of those awesome fans and great teammates, you know, like yourself and friends and guys that we've played with. So, you know, to be able to be thinking about that, you know, now and some of those games, it's super cool.
Hey, Bernie, I'll tell you, after you went into the supplemental draft, I did the same thing. I said, I mean, hey, dude, I can't tell you how I did the same thing. I did, man. I got to tell you one. You
know, it's kind of cool. I'm super proud to say, and not to be cocky or cut you off, but the influence that guys, you know, you're a year or two younger than me. Michael Irvin's a year or two younger than me. And to have, you're great men now, but the younger guys, you know, that you influence. Mike came out early under the same type of flow. Same with yourself. It's kind of commonplace today. You know, I didn't want to leave. I know you didn't want to leave, but, you know, we're blessed. You know, we come from lower demographic backgrounds. Our families needed some help and support. And this is a sexist statement. But, you know, the men were, you know, the older boys were in charge of taking care of the family. And I felt that responsibility, you know, as a scarred Catholic growing up in Youngstown, Ohio. So, you know, I want to get past St. Peter, you know, on my way to the pearly gates. So I want to do all the correct stuff that, you know, I was beaten of from the nuns and priests when I was a boy growing up.
Hey, Bertie, I got to tell you a story Pizzulli told me, and I want you to tell me if you can validate this, that Schottenheimer said. So, a guy, you had Bubba Baker on your team, right? You had Bubba Baker on the team. So, Pizzulli's sitting in there, and you guys are getting ready for an AFC championship game. And all of a sudden, Marty comes walking in. He goes, guys, he just starts tearing up. Guys, we're going to go out there. We're going to win this. We're going to do this. And Bubba Baker, he goes, and I'm going to be your general. Marty goes, I'm going to be your general. Bubba Baker looks over at Pizzulli and goes, I don't know about you, man, but I don't know if I want my general crying going into battle. So, I mean, he was very emotional. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm a huge Marty Schottenheimer fan. I love Marty Schottenheimer. What an absolutely – it must have been awesome playing for him.
Yeah, Dan. And I, as again, scarred Catholic, I'm going to confession. I'll say confession right now on air here. Bless me, Father Dan, because I have sinned, because I did not realize that Marty Ball was a massively good thing to transition me from college to pros. And today, so many people are saying that the game has changed, and it has changed, but it's amazing that teams now that run the ball like Marty does, Okay, the running teams, now that you can't do inside drill and hit and practice like you do, the running physical play action game has resurfaced within the NFL. And I like to pride myself on being known as a guy with decent intelligence. But if I could go back and redo it, I didn't as appreciate his running game and physicalness as much as I should have, and I would have implemented it more. And then I got to also say, for all the people out there, as an old man now who could cry at the drop of a hat, not to make excuses, but Marty passed of all timers. He was a backup special teams wedge busting guy. And we didn't know at the time he was cognitive. I'm challenged. I could, part of as you get older and you have this stuff, you emotionally cry, you tear up. And he loved football more than anything in the world. He loved our team, and he wore it. He wore that. And that combination, I really want to keep that spirit alive.
I love that.
For some of the stuff he did. And this Kevin Stefanski system, I'm not just saying this to be a homer, okay, but we were 3-14 trying to be spread offense, shotgun, run around, do that. It's blocking and tackling. Dan, it's the D lineman, bro. We got to get our hands in the ground. You would love the tackles and guards always to come after you in a 2-point stance. Your leverage and strength, you'd be underneath them. You'd be squatting them out of your way. Like, you can't embrace your athleticism being too high. So like what Marty did and what Coach Stefanski and what some of this new running game is doing, I think it's a really a big equalizer.
I got to get your opinion. We're based in Philly. I want to hear your thoughts. By the way, I'll make sure I tell Jim Kelly tomorrow because he's coming on with us as well. And we'll be talking to Jim tomorrow. But for you, Bernie, what Jalen Hurts, how do you look at him? How do you quantify him? He's so hard because, again, people will look at the 2903 as passing yards, the 18 touchdowns, yet they dominated the NFL, like you said, with the run game. So tell me what your assessment is of Jalen Hurts as an NFL quarterback. How do you see him?
I'll definitely get to Jalen. I can't let the great Jim Kelly call shout out go without a love of him, our big brother. And the reason why hockey players in the 80s didn't have their front teeth, University of Miami quarterbacks in the 80s didn't have their back teeth because Jim didn't wear them. So we got ours knocked out. So when he got his mouth cancer, and I learned what not to do. Okay, so when I got mine from it, learning and dysfunctional medicine stuff that saved me has really been a blessing. So Jim's, besides a brother of mine who I loved playing against and learning from. And then, Dan, when we play our brothers and our best friends, we want to beat them. So,
oh, absolutely.
Were really good back then. So please check out my record when I started against them.
Bernie's record versus the Bills. I love it there. What do you make of Jalen Hurts? Give me your takeaway on Hurts.
Jalen Hurts thing and those awesome Philadelphia fans is my last pro pass was a touchdown to O.J. McDuffie on the 19-yard line of the old Philadelphia Stadium. I was so happy, came over the sideline and got about 2,000 beers thrown on me. That the Philadelphia visiting team gets, but also the home team quarterback, what he gets perennially over the 4 decades that I've been following the Philadelphia Eagles, actually 5 decades, because the Polish rifle Ron Jaworski from Youngstown State was one of the great guys and influencers in my life. And the massive pressure and stress that's on every NFL quarterback in all 32 markets really can't be dismissed, but it's massively heightened in Philadelphia. So for what Coach Sirianni has done and what Jalen Hurts has done in the implementation of the physical running game, and what you guys do with your GM Howie and the amazing offense and defensive line. I know you're biased, and for your listeners, is a defensive lineman, but that is where the game is won today, and the Philadelphia Eagles go after it with that. So it's not an indictment of Jalen Hurts' awesomeness that he has a good running game and he implements it. And I love his abilities. Unfortunately, as a visiting quarterback, I love his abilities in clutch times and in clutch game situations. He makes the right play. So QBing a lot of times comes down to a half dozen plays in a game, and three of them may not be sexy, but and it may be as simple as not making a mistake, or on 4th and 3 or 3rd and 6, putting it under or hitting a check down. He's as impressive as anybody. So again, if you guys don't like him, we'll take him.
But Bernie, I think you're hitting on something that, and I've said this before, and I've actually told Vinny Testaverde this. And again, we love Vinny. We love him very much. Okay. But someone asked me this on the NFL Network. They were talking to me about our quarterbacks that we had at one time at the University of Miami. And they go, if you had to win a ball game, who would you take? I go, I'd take Bernie Kosar any day to win a ball game because he's not going to be denied. And they go, yeah, but you had a quarterback in there like Vinny Testaverde that was one of the most gifted guys of all time. And I go, Vinny had better arm. Vinny had a bigger body. Vinny was a better athlete. But you know what Bernie was? He was better at winning. And I go, is it really that right there? Decision-making is what separate you guys? Because I've said this before too, Bernie. Tom Brady's not the most gifted passer. He's not the most athletic guy, but you know what he is? He's the most cerebral guy on the field. He knows where to go with the ball at all times. And that's something that you had. You knew where to go with the ball in the critical situations. And I think that's what Hurts does. He outthinks the game. That's quarterbacking.
And I'm so glad I had a great run of coaches. Look, Howard Schnellenberger, the Don Shula, Jimmy Johnson, Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Belichick, Bud Carson, Jimmy Johnson 3 times, Coach Shula again. You know, that ability to be able to be coached like guys like that. But almost all the coaches, and Howard Schnellenberger clearly said to me, he goes, and this is a life lesson, whether it's football or for people just trying to survive in life. Be honest with yourself, Bernie. You got to maximize what you do good and be honest with yourself, minimize what you can't do good. And you are not athletic. You're not fast. You don't have the strongest arm, but you got a good brain. So this is the offense that I mandate, that you maximize your abilities and minimize your weaknesses. And you're fortunate that you came to me because I let the quarterbacks call the plays. And you need to always make sure you take advantage of the plays. And he goes, you know what? Even if you do all of that, you probably still aren't going to play because those guys are better than you. But he goes, you know what? If you run from this challenge today and you go home to mommy and, you know, you go play at a lower division school, he goes, everything in life that's great, whether it's a quarterback, a millionaire, a success in business, a success in your family, that's hard to do. And if you run from this challenge, you'll run from every subsequent challenge the rest of your life. So he goes, it's better to suck it up, admit who you are, and then do the best you can. And if you fail, so he goes, Burn, so what? You failed. You don't have to be an old man like me and die for 50 years from within, not knowing if you got the heart, if you got the spirit. And I didn't have the heart and spirit at that time, but I developed it because I didn't want to not play. And
that's right. I mean, Bernie,
play.
That's one of the greatest winners, and again, one of the most important people in our program's history. So let me ask you about the modern day Browns. Who starts at quarterback in your opinion?
So I'm really liking the system, and we are victims or beneficiaries in life of, just like football, of who we're around. And although quarterback gets a lot of credit and blame, we need guys around us and stuff. So this running game play action is going to help transition whoever the quarterback is. I'm biased, Dan. This cost me a little bit of my relationship early with Baker Mayfield because I love Baker. Okay, just like I love Patrick Mahomes. Okay, but Patrick Mahomes did not play till the last game of his first year. I was a baby with Marty Schottenheimer. I wanted to play right off the bat. I love Gary Danielson. He made my transition possible to the league, Dan. But I was a baby. I wanted to play right off the bat. Sometimes those players have to be helped from ourselves, and a little learning could really help. Joe Flacco it's amazing, Dan, at 18 years into the league, and he's going to be 41 years old. He throws the ball so artistically beautiful that I feel like I'm not culturally refined, but I feel like if I was a ballet orchestra person, watching him effortlessly throw the ball, it's like a work of art right now. So having a veteran leadership, and then, it's a long season. We play lots of quarterbacks, and then you have time on some of our younger quarterbacks. And yes, Dylan Gabriel was picked 94th, the third round, but Shedeur coming in the fifth round. But should Dylan having the hamstring, and Kenny Pickett, you guys had last year, having a hamstring, I feel bad for him. It's put him behind. So Shedeur came, and one person's issues is another man's opportunity, and Shedeur absolutely showed composure, professionalism, playmaking, command of the offense, really good things. But again, I kind of lean towards veterans easing our way into the season, especially with you defensive guys. The first month of the season, the first 4 games, we don't have film breakdowns.
Yeah.
You're not doing what you're doing in preseason here. It's a complete guess game. You got the upper hand early. The linemen haven't got their sea legs. We haven't banged you in the head enough yet to where you're slowing down on the 34 ISOs and stuff. So, there's time for the young guys, and I was super impressed with what Shedeur did.
So do you think he's an NFL quarterback, or do you think he needs more seasoning?
Dan, he's an NFL quarterback. He absolutely is an NFL quarterback.
Do you think he could start in Cleveland?
So right now, yes, he could start. All 4 of those guys could start. Should he start for the long-term benefit of a 10, 15-year career September 7th? That's a different question. But for a guy who could be in the league for lots of years, Shedeur Sanders will be in the league for lots of years.
Tell me who Kevin Stefanski is. I know he's a 2-time NFL Coach of the Year. Tell me why, and tell me how you think he's special in what he's done there. Because, again, last year, ton of injuries again. The quarterback position, the whole thing with Deshaun Watson has fallen completely apart a little bit. The future there yet to be determined. But tell me about Kevin Stefanski. Do you like Kevin Stefanski?
So yes is the simple short answer. And even if we were off air, this isn't just to be politically right. Okay. I really like him. And what I really like is you and me been around coaches, stubborn, opinionated, dictators to the nth degree. Okay. He's setting, us football guys, us coaches. Yeah. We got to have a little opinionated and a little definition as to what we believe in, and he definitely is committed to what he believes in. I like that. Look, we made a mistake with the offense last year, and we made a mistake with the Deshaun thing. A lot of like in life, when people make mistakes, we for sure do it in football. We pretend we didn't make one. So it's awesome that we've kind of owned it. It's awesome that we're not going to die with the ship and keep running, spread, shotgun, 4 and 5 receivers when the heart of our team is Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and those big old offensive linemen trying to run the ball and play action. That's his core DNA. And we started out the show loving Marty and talking about that. I really believe the game of football is going that way. So Kevin Stefanski's system And the off the belly, look at, we're going to be, I don't know how much you'll see it in the game this week, but he likes tight ends. So 12 and 13 personnel, one back, two tight ends, one back, three tight ends. And you've got a 350-pound DeJuan Jones and Conklin at 340 running over Njoku, Harold Farron, and another tight end. You're hard pressed as undersized pass rushing defensive linemen that most of the league has, except Philly. Okay, so most of the time that's going to work pretty good and consistently.
Bernie, do you like? Let me go into. First, though, do you think they're a playoff team this year? The Browns. Do you think they could be a playoff team?
So I am. So we all are capable of being a playoff team. We're all capable of going on a run. We all have the same football isms. If we stay healthy, well, we really have to stay healthy. In the Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, couple offensive linemen, philosophy type stuff, and then yeah, we need some help. I mean, bro, look at our division. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers with loaded up teams. So it's impressed. You know what? I'm so impressed. I'm proud of like how you started about the coolness of the '80s. Super proud of some being included in some of the really good quarterbacks and good offenses of the '80s back then. We're lock and loaded right now in 2025 with good quarterback play. And
Bernie, who are your top five? Give me your top five quarterbacks in the NFL right now, because it's always a debate. And I'd love to hear from you, because I think your perspective would be different. Because again, I told people this earlier in the show. I saw a guy, and no disrespect to anybody, but one of the greatest and most gifted players I've ever seen in my life is Jeff George. And yet I watched that guy get into a game and he couldn't figure out how to get out of a locker room, let alone figure out how to go up and down a football field like yourself and win ball games. There's a special savant that you have to be, I think, to be that. And you've got to be a great teammate. Folks, watching Bernie Kosar, do you understand he's got the same traits that Tom Brady had? Because I said this about Tom Brady. Brady's the greatest teammate I've ever seen. Bernie, that was one of the traits that you had. You were just a great teammate, and your team gravitated to you. You have to have that. So are there five guys in this league right now that you would put in that conversation of being a great teammate and a great quarterback? Who would be those five guys?
So I'll do that. And it's a tough one. And there's so many good ones that I don't want to offend anybody. But to that point, thank you, one, for saying it, and two, for younger players and young quarterbacks out there. I had to find my space within the locker room. And actually what we were talking about, Shador, playing good on the field, and then also finding his space in the locker room where the guys, look at, I don't want to be cocky, but nobody was going to touch me. Okay. The University of Miami and the Cleveland Brown linemen, with the first fight in the Catholics versus the convicts, wasn't 1988. Okay. It was 1984. It was the first night game ever. I love Jerry Faust. He should have recruited me. He told me I couldn't play quarterback. So we had a little bit of an attitude going up there. And that type of physical presence, you only get that when you're one of the boys, when you're with the guys. And for young quarterbacks, especially if you're not as talented as some of the other quarterbacks and you're not as athletic, you have to embrace the mental side. You have to embrace win at all cost. And then you have to be there for your guys. And I got to say, I haven't developed. I was told after retirement, you have to diversify. You have to do other business stuff. You have to have other friends. You have to meet other people. That was wrong. That was actually the biggest decision. Hanging with my brothers in the locker room, learning. Those guys had my back and I had their back. And to this day, as an old man, I still got their back. I mean, those guys, if you're listening, you're an NFL guy and you're one of my players. If you were a teammate, you were in my huddle in the rectangle. You can call me anytime for anything, and I'll kill myself to do that for you.
I know this. And you know what? Our teammates, I love every one of my teammates to this day, Bernie, that we had at Miami. And I tell people this all the time. What you guys set in 83, like you said, 84, you guys beat the hell out of them. We turned around in 85 and beat Notre Dame 58-7. We destroyed them the next year. And Bernie, all the things that you guys set, I tell you this, outside of my family and my daughter and my wife, I mean, it's the greatest period of my life that I've never, it's like Camelot. I never experienced more winning. I never experienced more brotherhood. I've never experienced anything where we stepped on the field and people were in fear of us.
Yeah.
It was just an incredible environment. And you guys really did start it. And we kind of carried it like with Jimmy when Jimmy was there. And it was just, it's one of the greatest times of my life being a Miami Hurricane.
I would absolutely echo that. And you know what? If I could add, and I know we're probably running up against you needing to go on to commercials or other people.
No, we got time here. We got time. Go ahead.
Okay, but like I gotta say this too, to the awesomeness of the brothers and teammates. When we played, okay, we also were equally wrong in our dislike for the other team.
Oh, we did.
Okay? So as I'm talking here into Philadelphia, and I'm talking about 36 years ago, I'm not trying to be fun. Maybe I am trying to be funny, but it is factual. We fought like little children that should be thrown in jail, okay, in London, England, okay, in those fights. And I said it in jest about my brother Jerome Brown, who we were shaking and moving together down in Miami. And now that 330-pound body was squishing me and punching me on the bottom of the pile, scamming my smelling salts so that I couldn't even crack them to get the concussion out of my head, you know, from that. But I developed a rapport that week, and it was a negative rapport with Andre Waters. Okay, so I had an attitude. One of the things as quarterbacks that Coach Snellenberger, Jimmy Johnson back in the day, the defensive secondary, the safety in particular, was my enemy as the quarterback. So I was eyeing him up. He told me how to pre-snap read, how to run plays. And I love Andre, God bless him. But back in the day, you were allowed and you were praised to be an incredibly dirty player. And although it's a penalty now, Andre was a ankle knee chopper, you know, on his weak safety blitzes. And I'm a not flexible beanpole with toothpick legs. So when I go like, dude, you got a weak safety blitz at 9 on a Wednesday walkthrough practice, and you're diving at my legs. So that set off a week of like fighting between the two of us. And then fast forward, and I'm embarrassed to say, again, since we're doing confession here, Father Dan, you know, that me and him had animosity and language and then bad intentions towards each other. And then you fast forward to some of the stuff we started talking about me and him, Dave Durison, Junior Seau. There was a foursome of us that we all had the concussion issues at the same time together. Andre, me and Dave Junior had started working on some of the treatments that we were going through. And we know in 2025 that these are real issues. The medications are wrong. The head trauma is genuine. But heck, back 15, even 7, 8, 10 years ago, even us knowing what was going on wasn't sure. And me and Andre became really close the last few years, like Dave Durison. And for people out there, whether they're ex-players, and I work a ton with military. I love my number 19, but 19 people will commit suicide in the state of Ohio today. There's 22 people nationally from our veterans that will commit suicide today. We've had over 50,000 people overdose death this year from the fentanyl issues. I should have, embarrassingly, been either one of those two statistics. So to proudly be here today, cognitively getting better, and to be able to not do that stuff, I don't say it to brag, but I do say it for people that are struggling. Follow some of the stuff I'm doing. There's help out there. And if you're my teammate or a guy I played against, you know, please reach out, because there's hope for us.
Bernie, you're important. You know this. I mean, I listen. you're important, man. You're important, all of us. You know that. Don't kid yourself. You know that on how we look at you. You know how that entire program looks at you. You know how the people who know you and love you. You're important to us here. So I'll tell you one story before you give me your 5 NFL quarterbacks here. I got to tell you a Junior Seau story. So I believe you may have been down in Miami at the time. So Seau was down there, and he calls me up, and he goes, "Hey, brother, I need you to do me if you had play." Folks, this guy was a horrible ukulele player, but he played this ukulele, and he goes, "Brother."
Yeah.
He goes, "How you doing? Hey, I need you to do me a favor." So I sent him around, and I introduced him to the head coach of the Heat was Pat Riley. I introduced him to a bunch of people. And I'll never forget this because you just said this. So Daryl Talley calls me. I'm on the air at QAM down in Miami, right? Sills, we just lost Sal. And I'm like, what? He goes, like, we lost Sal. And they told me the particulars of it. And I remember telling Tim Brown, all he had to do was call us. Thousands, we all would have ran to him. We would have ran to him to help him.
Man, I hadn't developed and figured out some of this IV detoxing treatments that I'm doing now. Me and him started this 15 years ago, and unfortunately we hadn't figured it out then. And you're right. One of the things us players, we love each other, but for men, we have too much pride. We were told our whole life, don't have feelings, you don't cry, suck it up, you're a bad person, swear word, swear word, swear word. If you cry, have emotion, feel bad, feel sorry. No, it's okay to do that. And Junior used to say to me, you go like, Bern, I go to the happy hours, I go to dinner, you're the life of the party, you're telling jokes, everyone's high-fiving you. You go home at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you can't sleep. I mean, I'd go 72, 96, 120 hours, 3, 4, 5 days, most of this century with the cognitive issues. You couldn't fall asleep. And
no.
back then you didn't know what was going on. And this is probably inappropriate for the show, but back, 25 years ago, if you're in Miami and you can't sleep, your family thinks you're on cocaine.
I know, right?
But if you can't sleep, that's not what you're on.
Okay. Hey, man,
but you didn't know that stuff,
No, I mean, Bernie, right now, I tell people this. I mean, the issues I have. I played 7 years of pro ball, and for me, I mean, sleeping at night, I don't sleep all the way through. I wake up every hour, sometimes it's good. I have to take aspirin every night before I go to bed, or I can't roll around. So, I mean, there's no doubt about it here. I'll get to your stuff at the end. I want for people to know, because I know you have some products there that can help people here. Bernie, I need your 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you know what, the 5, and it's why it's tough again for the Browns too, is when you start looking at Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes of the current players. I mean, it's hard not to talk about those 4, and I've left out a couple right there. And if you go to the older guys, like, God, you keep talking about Tom Brady, like, ultimately we are judged by our wins, and he's got them. So it's spectacular. And I think our quarterback play is just top tier, and that's what does not make it bode well for the Browns, especially if we get some injuries. And that's not an indictment of any of our quarterbacks. It's just, damn, are these guys impressive in the league right now. I mean, I'm watching Joe Burrow, watching him throw to Chase and stuff. Like, how do you stop that? And then Lamar Jackson with the dual threat. The pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Lamar. Look at the regular season awesomeness with the, getting farther in the playoffs. I'm a little more attuned to that as a guy who lost to Elway 3 times, so that sticks in my long-term head for long-term anxiety that sometimes adds to us not sleeping as we become, Bernie,
I got to ask you a couple things personally here. when you're walking off the field of the Orange Bowl and you have realized the seconds after Kenny Calhoun knocks that down, and you realize that you had won the national championship for Howard, and it's began our program, that moment there, is that your defining moment in sports, or is there another time? Because again, that moment was not just about winning a national title. It was about a promise you made to Howard and all the things about the program and everything. Is that your biggest, for you, memory that you've ever had in sports? You were so iconic in Cleveland. I hard to believe that probably somebody in there, but that moment
Yeah.
had to be huge.
So you know what? Thanks. I'm so blessed that I'm not sure anyone can be, because I've had so many. That one, though, was really probably what we epitomize as the ultimate one, because technically as a quarterback, and I have some people around me in my family today, and I don't mean this here to be negative, but you know how we had to look and think to be a productive football player consistently. We were never happy. So I,
Never.
for 489 yards against the New York Jets in a double overtime victory, NFL record for 3 or 4 decades, till Brady broke it, and didn't think about it 1 second of happiness, because the next week was the Denver AFC Championship game. You always were conditioned at the University of Miami under Howard Schnellenberger and Jimmy Johnson not to be complacent and to move forward successfully. So actually, but I was only 19, 18 when we won the championship. I was too young to really realize how cool that was. And technically, that was really the only time I really won and then enjoyed it, because some of the other games when we won the Super Bowl, you started thinking about repeats. And even the University of Miami one, within a day or two, we were talking about repeating and that. So, I believe you keep getting better as a person, just like you get better as a player when you don't actually get pride in yourself.
I got to tell you, Bernie, you look happier now than you did when you played. I don't know. Maybe there's a sense right now of you knowing and all the things where you are in your life and
Oh
all
yeah,
the
Dan. When I
journeys.
played, I wasn't happy. Not at
You
all.
just never seemed happy.
Oh no, you're not happy. You're working. You're completely obsessed. I mean, I'm not. That's how I had to play to be good. I'm a pretend extrovert. Okay, autism runs in our family. I'm really on the spectrum. I have a couple autistic nephews. I'm really introverted. And when I was in first and second grade, I was diagnosed with words you're not allowed to use now in terms of being stupid. I got D's and F's, paddled and stuff, and figured out, if I didn't talk in class and put my tie on and got A's, they stopped paddling and hitting me. So I got all A's after third grade. Okay. But really, being on the spectrum and being introverted, there was no happiness. And back then, remember the way, not right, young players, we were told by the coaches that the media was the enemy. So I was always afraid to say something wrong, and
Yeah.
and Coach Johnson, there's a great lesson that he taught, and Coach Stellenberger. They said when they do a press conference and they're answering questions for the fans and for the media, they're like, the head coach and my quarterback, they're not talking to the fans. They're not talking to the media. He goes, you're talking to your locker room. You're talking to your teammates. And if you're focused and you're grumpy and you're all about business, so will they. And if you're a comedian thinking you're on Comedy Central, so will they. So truthfully, as an old man, I really want to think I'm a comedic guy. I want to be on Comedy Central. But when I was playing, I had to be like stoic, and I was introverted. But bro, that's why I get fired every 3 or 4 years for a sports gig.
Hey, Bernie, I got to tell you this. I got to tell you, the guy that I am right now, it took me 30 years not to be that guy that I was back then, because I'll tell you this. When I came out of the U, they had conditioned me. I didn't care who you were. I didn't care what you were. I was going to talk as much, and I'll say it, shit as possible. You were not going to say anything about our program. I was one of the most obnoxious people on the planet. Our program played that way. We played with arrogance. We played with confidence. And that's why we won so many football games, Bernie. We played like that.
Yeah, and Dan, for the young kids out there, you can't do that today.
No,
but
you can't.
Had to be like that.
Yes.
Had to be. You would have been eaten coming in as a transfer, white defensive lineman.
Yep.
Would have been eaten
not a Florida kid.
You wouldn't have played 7 years in the NFL unless you turned yourself in. And this is so inappropriate. And I mean this as a compliment, but you had to turn yourself into an animal. I mean, look at your cousin Dave Pizzoli. He's one of the greatest humans in the world in his 60s. But look what he had to be a nose tackle.
Yeah.
And in the mid 80s, okay.
Yep.
Cleveland on the landfill dirt.
Okay, Bernie, I'm going to end it with here. Okay, I mean, what's next? Oh, by the way, you talk this medicine?
So you know what?
Talk about it.
Yeah, so a lot of what I do now is functional medicine and holistic lifestyle. Inbred Slovak who grew up on kibasi and pierogies for breakfast. Okay, it's why the Kosar men die of stomach cancer at 65, okay, and have cognitive decline. So really working on your diet and juicing and good water-based stuff. But some of the things I'm early Parkinson's, early dementia. I had surgery today without pain meds, and I'm going to be going dark in a couple days, probably for a liver transplant, without pain meds and without any of the other meds. So being able to go through this with holistic stuff from my doctors in terms of flushing and detoxing with some natural supplements. So I have things that in the pharma world you get yelled at for saying they're Adderall and pain pill replacements, but being able to take things that aren't narcotics that are detoxing you. So I would challenge people, especially if you're cognitively anxiety and having some of that. I'm a big believer in flushing out the ultra processed fast foods. So check me out at kosar.com or shopkosar.com. And it's basically staying healthy with functional medicine, brother.
I'm with you, Bernie. And you know what? You mean a lot to us, all of us. You mean a lot to me. You always have, you know that. And we love you so much. I mean, you are one of the most important people that, I grew up with. And I grew up in that program. So many lessons was taught. And, you in that program are synonymous with one another. And everybody that follows out of that program, I'm sad that I told Mario Cristobal the other day, I talk to him weekly now. And I told him, I said, man, we got to get back to what Bernie created and what everyone created and what we were so that we can be again. So, brother, I love you very much. And make sure, listen, I'm going to be contacting you.
Keep in touch, brother. Through the year, man. You and me are a staple.
Man. We're brothers for life, man. And I love you very much, Bernie. You make sure you tell your family that we thank them for doing this. And I know that, you had a procedure today and you did this for me. And I just love the hell out of you, man. Thank you so much, man. I'll be in contact the next couple days.
All right. Love you, brother. You matter. You matter.
I love you too, man. Bernie Kosar. I can't tell you how important that guy is to our program. He's got Hodgkin's disease. He's got dementia. And got a national title. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I would never have gone to Miami if it wasn't for him. I mean, I had been thrown out of college. And I remember contacting Pizzoli, and I said, can you ask Bernie about Miami? And sure enough, I get a call from Butch Hey, want to come down here and play? I'd love to have you come down here. Burning vouchers for you. I was a maniac. My aunt will tell you, I was a maniac. I was not a very friendly guy. I just was not. My aunt will tell you, I struggled a lot when it came to just being nice. I was very angry as a kid, always in fights. And I just, it's taken me 35 years to be the person I am now and not be that guy. I don't want to be that guy anymore. Okay? I do not want to be that guy. The guy was what's really crazy is that my daughter sees me today, and I'm so happy that she didn't see that guy. My wife saw that guy. And yeah. Whew. Man, was I a mean dude? I mean, bully at Maryland. I got thrown out because I threw a guy off a roof. I didn't care. You kidding me? I literally threw a guy out of a window. How do you think I got thrown out? I mean, and Bernie called, said the kid's a great player. He's crazy, but not a roof, a window. My bad. And Jimmy called me in. This is exactly what happened. So I get down to Miami. It's a true story. I don't really talk about it much. I get thrown out of Maryland for throwing that guy out of a window. Okay. And I bench pressed like 500 pounds. I ran a 4.7, something like that. I'm killing everything on the planet down there in practice. Jimmy goes like this, "Why are you here?" And I go, "I want to play for you." He goes, "You act up one time, you're gone. I don't need you. Make me want you. I don't need you." And the rest was history. I did not get in one bit of trouble the 3 years I was there. He gave me one shot. One shot. He goes, "I don't care how good you are. I got 1,000 guys like you here." And he did at the time. We lost one game in 3 years. He didn't need me. Okay? Seal's got to say that was the best interview. You are an art form, the way you do interviews. Kozar's a real one. Hearing real people with real life always moves us. We love how you really speak to us. It's a blessing. Thank you. Well, dude, that's the only way I know. I'm not a professional at this. I've just been in it a long time. Okay? I mean, yeah. I try to give you the stories that have shaped me as a player and as a man. My stuff's not orchestrated. This is my life. Okay? Look at Sig. Sig's really interested in this throwing a guy out the window. No, reconcile? I don't believe I had anything to do with reconcile. Sills, do you know the guy you threw out the window? Hey, Sig, I was talking to his girlfriend, and 4 guys came over and said that that's my friend's girlfriend. And I said, "Not tonight, she is." Okay. And then the guy brought his 4 dudes over, and I kicked the shit out of all 4 of them, and I threw one of them out a window. I was get this, my wife was with me this other time. We were working out at a gym. I'm working out. This is old Dan. This is not me now. We're working out at a gym. They called, we're working out a cop, a Pinellas County cop. And the guy comes over to me, the runner of the guy who ran the gym. And the guy comes over and he goes, "Hey, you can't train people here." And I go, "Yeah, whatever. We'd like to see you in the office." So I go in the office. There's 5 guys in there. My wife goes like this. She was my girlfriend then. I beat the shit out of all 5 of them. My wife goes, "That was absolutely awesome." And the cop said it too. I beat the shit out of all 5 of those guys. One guy he stood up and looked at me and I go, "You really want it?" He goes, "No, it's all right. I'm good." I don't like that guy. That's old Dan. That's old Dan, dude. Yeah, I'm not that dude anymore. Okay, Sills, when your grandfather told Jimmy, "Oh, hey, yeah, well, hey," so Coach Johnson said, "I talked to your grandfather." I was like, "Really? You talked to Brother Bear?" He goes, "Yeah, you know what he told me? Yeah, don't give him an inch." And I called my grandfather up and I said, "Why would you tell him that?" He goes, "Because you can't be given an inch." And so Jimmy Johnson never gave me an inch. Ever, man. My grandfather was not, by the way, my daughter's name is Danielle. She's not named after me. She's named after my grandpa. She's named after my grandfather. And my grandfather, man, he was the greatest human being I've ever met in my entire life. I have never loved a man more than him. That guy was so tough. It was unbelievable. He was so tough. Don't give him an inch. What? You told my coach that? Yeah. And I'm like this. Jimmy looked at me. He goes, "Well, I'm not going to give you an inch, you know. Get back in there." I told you the one time where, again, I stole those blankets. I think that was probably the only time, is because I didn't have any blankets. I didn't have a pillow. It's the only reason he kept me on the team. And I was a starter. By then, I was a starter. And he was like, "Yeah, get back in there." Oh, my God. Going to the University of Miami is the greatest thing ever happened to me. And the winning. You see how Alabama is? We were better. You know why? Multiple Hall of Famers were on my team. Multiple draft choices. We were crazy, too. Crazy. Lawbreakers, like, in the news for, like, breaking the law. Oh, my God. Getting off an airplane. You saw somebody in here post, we get off the airplane with machine guns, a handgun, and grenades in fatigues. You're not doing that today. God, if social media was around for us, man, we would have been they called us convicts anyway. Called us convicts. I mean, imagine if we had social media. Holy Maron. The shit that would have went on. Insane. Just read some of the stories. I mean, some of the shit talking. The FBI was investigating us once. Who else? DEA, Border Patrol, Miami-Dade cops. Everyone. I can't tell you, we probably I can't think of the arrests, how many arrests we had. But most of these guys were inner city kids, black and white. It was a different breed of kid then. I mean, it was just a different dude. Most of the guys I played with were gangsters. Just nuts. You know, I haven't thought about those days in a while, but it was crazy. And every time we stepped on the field, teams were afraid of us because these were real gangsters. I played with guys who shot people, sold drugs, and then got drafted in the first round. Okay, I missed the super. Did I miss the Superman? Leon, I missed one. Did I miss a super chat with you? Canes have not done dick for 25 years. I happen to agree. Thank you for the super. And thank you for telling the truth. I know this. And I rip the shit out of them every day for it. Okay? Absolutely. Winning 10 games. I'm harder on that program. Get this. I love that program. And I'm harder on them than I am on your Eagles. Somebody told me the other day, Sills, what do you think you'll ever get back? Your Canes football teams will ever get back. Okay? You ever get back to being like, I go, no, you're never going to do the things we did. Funny, my wife said that years ago. She goes, years ago, my wife said that. She goes, they'll never do the shit you guys did, ever. They'll never have that kind of winning. And she turned out to be right. I'm thinking so. They got to get better on defense. Okay, they've got to be better on defense if they're going to go anywhere. I'm glad you guys like Bernie. Folks, Bernie's going in for a liver transplant in the next couple days. It's 50-50 if he lives. And he did that for you. He did that for me. Okay? That guy matters to me. I don't know if he'll live. We're hoping. The last interview may be that. We're praying we have him on thousands more times. He said he went in, he had a procedure to get him ready for his liver transplant. And I said, are you up for it? He goes, yeah, for you? I have to. I said, okay. Jim Kelly's struggling. He'll be on tomorrow. What a great football player. Tough as shit. Holy cow. Tough as shit, that guy. Bernie's a strong dude. Hope for speedy recovery. We need you around for years to come as well, Sills. He's off the Coronas. That's what Xander tells me. Prayers, man. You have a big heart, Sills, for real. It's taken me years to get there, though, Leon. It has. I'm proud of the guy I am today. That guy back then was not a cool dude. I know that. The guy was just not a cool dude. All right. Let's get back to some football here. By the way, I thought Bernie was great. He talked, he likes Hurts. He thinks the NFL, get this, I think he agrees with Xander. He thinks the NFL's getting back to running the football. That's actually a Xander take. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely keep you updated. Love and hate come from the same place, Sills. You just got to figure out how to aim it right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you, dude. I'll tell you this. You guys are cool, too, because you give me a ton of shit. All right? Powerful interview. Thank you. One day, Sills will learn the Big Z takes are football gospel. Oh, really? Yeah. Football gospel. Yeah, well, we're going to find out about that gospel. I heard him this morning. You know what he said? There's only one issue left. He thinks it's corner. I'm sorry. I don't. I think there's a couple other positions that still have the battle there. It's okay, Sills. It's how you get there, not when. Yeah, I get it. Right. You're right. Thank you guys for the supers, man. Okay, hypothetically speaking, how he takes all these picks and turns them into another first rounder. You take the kid from Ohio State, the receiver Smith, like you're thinking. All 13 picks? Oh, why don't you take all 13 picks and get Arch Manning? Oh, QB1. Oh, take all 13 picks and get Arch Manning. That's a great comment. If you could get Arch Manning in next year's draft, would you trade Hurts? Oh, my God. So what kind of stats would Campbell have to put up to win Rookie of the Year? Great comment. How about this? You get that guy to give you like 95 tackles, 6 sacks, 6 TFLs, he'll win Rookie of the Year. That's what he's going to do. How he's going to take all 13 picks, and we're going to trade Jalen Hurts, and we're getting Arch Manning. There you go. QB1, baby, and then Tanner McKee. You put in that mix as well. By the way, another Xander take. You ready? Shador could play in the league. Holy shit. What's going on here? Big Z. The youngsters start. Get this, folks. Grasshopper's working. It's happening here. All right. Holy cow. Wait a minute. I'm going to have to towel off after those 2 takes that Bernie gave him. Those were Xander takes. Shador can play. Okay. And he loves the leadership in Jalen. All right. Without further ado, by the way, do not forget, right after the program today, how about that too? Dr. Chow we had yesterday and Bernie Kosar today, giving you little browns as those guys get ready for their joint practices. And then they have the game on Saturday. But don't forget, you get a chance to talk with the guys and the fellows this afternoon right after the program. John and Xander will have Bird 365, a special edition. But without further ado, Big Z, Xander Kraus joins us now. How you doing, Junior?
What is up, Big Sills? What a great freaking interview, dude, that was with Bernie Kosar. My mic was a little. What a great interview that was with Bernie Kosar. I'll tell you what, you're good at a lot of things in this industry, Sills. You interview better than anybody I've ever heard. You really do, man. You know how to really interview somebody to get the most out of them. 99% people who do that interview wouldn't have the ability to get him to open up, talk about some of those things, go into some of those topics. And you do that often with almost all of your guests. So shout out to you. That was really special one today. Really good one. Really fun to watch. Entertaining, captivating. One of the interviews you just couldn't click out of, you know.
Motivating. Motivating
yeah,
too.
Right. Motivating as well. Yep.
I mean, Bernie's been through a lot. He's done a lot in his life. He's won a lot. You can tell. And you know, when you talk about, again, remember this, he played in the era of Marino and Elway in Montana, and he's beating those guys. This guy wasn't just a dude, man. He's winning 12, 13, 14 games in a 16-game schedule.
Yeah.
That's how good that guy was. So, all right, let me start
He's
it here.
The best quarterback Browns ever had, isn't he?
Yes. That's a great take.
Yeah.
He's the best quarterback the Browns have ever had, outside of Otto Graham. That's way, way back before my time, too.
Yeah, right.
But probably Otto Graham and then Bernie.
That's
when you're
true.
talking about the greatest quarterbacks. All right, dude.
Sills is a great interview guy. Just got to get his Eagles takes together.
My Eagle takes
in Philadelphia.
Hey, my Eagle takes are going to be right on this year, Junior. So far, I'm hitting 1,000.
You're like Shohei Ohtani, bet about 300. I'm like a hockey goaltender in the playoffs, about 95% save percentage. You know, it's kind of how it goes.
There is nothing I've been wrong about so far because I told you guys about Ty Robinson. Dude, that guy's wasn't well coached.
No, he wasn't. But is it his fault or is it the program? Yeah, it's probably.
No.
You know, I think he has potential.
I think he can play.
I do too. It's going to take a year. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be this year for sure. But I don't know. They got rid of Booker. They just signed some defensive tackle.
Oh no, he's important. No, he's important.
Yeah, he'll be a rotational piece, but we'll see how much he can do.
I expect him to be better probably by November. Okay, like I expect him to be better. He'll be in the conversation there.
You know, I do think Sills kind of takes some DTs longer too. You know what I mean? It's just a tough position. You're going up against offensive linemen who are the strongest players on the field for the most part. You know, I think there's a learning curve there, which is why I'm so optimistic on Moro Ujoma, who, as a 7th round pick, has looked as good as he's looked.
But it also because of the complex scheme he's in.
Well, I think part of that helps him actually.
Okay, he's in a complex scheme that you have a lot of
definitely complex, but he knows it now. I mean, he obviously knows it now going into this year. So I'm excited to see what happens in that room and how more Jomo can do this year.
24 hours after the news of Landon Dickerson, how you feeling about it now?
Well, I'm feeling like you're in a good spot. I mean, even if you're right about the Bob Lang special and it's not a week 1 return, I think at the it's an early return, right? It's not a huge, unless there's a complication with the surgery of some sorts. You're looking at an early year return for Landon Dickerson. So how will they prevail in the short term? They had Brett Toth at left guard, at center today. He's a viable backup. He's not anything more than that. So I think they're in a good spot. I mean, how do you approach the Cowboy game if you don't have Landon? I think maybe a little different than if you did have him. But I think overall it's a really good sign, and it's considering what I was thinking originally with the video and what it showed. I think I feel a great sense of optimism, because I was in my head, I was thinking worst case scenario. I went a little pessimistic on it and was just like, fuck, he's going to be done for the year. That's a big hit. Like, that would be the first hit where I'd be like, shit, man, a couple more of these, your season could go off the rails quick. So I'm real happy that it's obviously not over the top, and he'll be back early in the year at some point.
I'm not playing him in that Cowboy game.
No?
I don't need him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I need him in the Chiefs
it
game.
Depends,
and the
I
Rams.
mean, if he's like literally
if he's a go, yeah.
If he's 100% cleared, obviously you play him.
Yeah.
But if the training staff is like, I'd rather you not play him, then maybe I would side with you there.
I need him in the long game. I don't need him in the short game.
Super Bowl on September 4th.
That's right. Okay, yeah. I need him in that Chiefs game, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I need him in that Rams game, and I need him in that Bucks game, and probably I need him in that Bronco game.
Dude, I need him in the Commanders games late in the year. I need him in the Bills game. I need him in I need him in those games. I need him in the Lions game in week 9 or 10, whatever game that is. So those are where I think you really want him to be healthy. So, but that's where you think it's a good thing, even if he's not, even if it's like, oh, he might not be back. I'm kind of with you where, all right, if he misses, it's all good. I mean, we'll prevail.
You're still going to kill him.
Yeah, well, probably. Might look a little different than what we would expect, but for sure.
Absolutely here. All right. Dude, I'm going to disagree with you on this. I don't think that the DB job is solidified yet. I don't think that the safety job is solidified.
I didn't mean solidified as in good. I meant the competition's kind of.
Oh, you think one guy is rearing his head above?
That doesn't mean they're going to be good. I'm saying like with Kuba,
right.
Now it could change. You heard John, Brown goes down, but I think Sidney's kind of the shoe-in. I think Jalix is the shoe-in at the edge. Right now it looks like Trotter. Steen looks like the right guard. So when I said the corner spot, I was more thinking the last like open competition that's still going on in camp every single day.
Do you not think now that Howie will make a move at potentially bringing in another offensive lineman? Or do you think they're comfortable with what they have?
I think they're comfortable because they had a lot of guys. Now, the other thing that came out today was Kenyon Green, the guy that they acquired in the trade for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's out for training camp. He has some sort of a shoulder injury. It's not a high-profile player, obviously, in Philly, so nobody really picked up on it.
But it was part of that CJ trade.
He was part of the CJ trade, and he's now out for the offseason as well. Should be hopefully ready by week 1. I don't know if he's ever going to make it. He's probably a practice squad guy anyway. But I do feel like they got pretty good depth. I mean, the problem is your depth is getting eaten up because who's going to be on the field?
You're elevating, and you really haven't developed those backups yet.
Yeah, so probably you look at Pryor, you look at Kennard, you look at Toth, you look at some of these other guys that Kendall Lamb is a good swing tackle. That's who I think is going to be this year's Fred Johnson, or Darian Kennard, one or the other. I think you're in a pretty good spot. I mean, John's been saying they got 14 NFL-ready offensive linemen. Not great, not all great players, but 14 guys that could make a roster.
Could
exactly make a roster in the NFL. So I think you're honestly fine there.
Okay, so I want to go over this with you here. I didn't really think about it until I saw this here, and follow me here when we're talking about quarterbacks. I didn't realize that this was Xander. This guy, Mike Sando from The Athletic.
Yeah.
He pulled 6 GMs.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, this is the league. This isn't media.
You pulled this shit on me yesterday.
No. I didn't know that it was this, though. 6 GMs, 6 assistant GMs, 6 former GMs, 6 current assistant general managers, 5 other executives, 8 current NFL head coaches, 19 other position NFL coaches currently, 15 coordinators, make up this personnel that was this panel that he asked. And this is just a perception. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. The top guys that they look in the NFL executives look at in the league are Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Jackson, and Stafford. I don't find that to be a problem. When you see the other guys in the second tier, and by the way, I don't care about the rankings. You look at Daniels, Herbert, Goff, Stroud, Hurts, and Mayfield. I mean, Jalen Hurts is the only guy out of that entire list that's a second-round pick, and there's 5 guys who were the number 1 overall pick. He's elevated himself into the conversation with some of the players that have been number 1 overall in the NFL draft. I don't think it's a rip on him.
No, it's not a rip on him, but, I'm listening to this interview that Tom Brady did today. And, again, I have no problem with other people doing that. They're entitled to their opinions, but I think there's a large swath of people, GMs, coaches, all the players included, that are not properly quantifying the mental part of the quarterback position. Brady did an interview today. I think it was wasn't Joel Klatt. Who the heck was it? Damn.
Bernie actually talked about being smart
and
seeing the game today.
He did an interview literally today.
By the way, Peyton Manning did one too, talking really highly of Jalen Hurts today.
Yeah, Joel Klatt. It was Joel Klatt. All right, and he talked about different quarterbacks and who resembles right now.
Mahomes.
What he did, and he talked about Mahomes. But if you listen to what he said, that makes Mahomes great. The next person I thought of was Jalen, and I don't think it's because I had eagle glasses. He wants to know, do you do what it takes to win the game? Do you have the intangible traits? Do you have the approach to the game to not only play well in the big games, but day in and day out, get your team, get your organization, get your coaches, get your general manager, get your owner, get everybody on the same page to get to the goal. It's not all about statistics. It's not all about what your talent level is. It's not all about those things. It's about other things. And he even made the comment at the end of his remark that, I've seen a lot of great things from a lot of other players, but they still haven't shown me it. They still haven't shown me it. And when Tom Brady says that, it carries more weight. 7 Super Bowls, obviously, for him. And I think people leave that out with Jalen. Look, you can poll guys and say, who would get the best arm strength? All right, he's not going to be at the top. Who's got the best accuracy? Okay, he might not be at the top. Whatever. But that doesn't quantify the other things that Jalen does that allows his team to play the way they do and win at the level that they do.
Here's again, I'm not thinking that. I think I'm not talking really about that though. And I get what you're saying. I totally do. When these guys are talking, these executives are talking, they're talking about the most talented players at their respective positions. And the quarterback position is the only one that gets credit. And I like what you said to me, what John said. I like that. Winning becomes a quarterback stat when it becomes a quarterback stat. I mean, when you continue to win, you're gonna get that. You're right. You're gonna get that. That's why I can't ever put Jalen out of the top 5 because of what he's accomplished. This list right here, what these GMs are looking at, you have to understand, Xander, this is what guys would draft. This has nothing to do with playing the position and winning. They would draft Mahomes 1. They would draft Burrow. They would draft Allen. They're never going to draft Jalen Hurts over that. That's not what they're saying on that list. The things that you're saying, again, like you said, there's no doubt. And that's why the quarterback position is one of the most difficult positions to evaluate. I don't think that's a rip that he's overachieved. Wouldn't you rather have an overachiever at quarterback than an underachiever like Trevor Lawrence? Yeah. Wouldn't you rather be that and have that? Don't you think Tom Brady's completely overachieved? Look at the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The greatest quarterback, dude, have all overachieved. Patrick Mahomes is overachieved. He was like the 10th pick.
Yeah.
He wasn't the number 1
Chiefs
overall.
traded up for him.
That's right. And you know what
they traded up and stashed him on the bench for a year.
They wanted Deshaun Watson or that guy Mitchell Trubisky to go to Kansas City over him. Why do you think people take it so sensitive when someone has Jalen Hurts in a conversation and they don't like what they're hearing? Why? It
Well,
doesn't
I
really
think
matter.
I think fans it's their nature to defend their players, and I get that. I think I think Jalen's proven himself though, and people take it as a slight where you know. Look, I'm not of the opinion that I have to correct everybody that I think is wrong. I don't really care if you don't think like me. I don't care if you don't act like me. I don't care if you don't have my opinion. It doesn't bother me that much. But some people, take offense to it. They want him to get the recognition, and some people feel like he earned it, and I think he has as well. I think
Do you
he's
think
gone
he
through.
gets enough recognition?
I think he's gotten a lot more recognition, and since from what he's done. But I think he's still kind of going through that phase of if he continues to win at this clip, I think the trajectory and the conversation about him is really going to change. Kind of the point you just made about John, where if you win this much and let's say they have roster turnover or they lose a receiver or Saquon goes and they continue to win. Like when all those things start to happen in Jalen's career and the full picture starts to come into play, I think there's more accolades to give him. But a lot of people just boil the quarterback down to talent. I mean, Sills, think about this. The only two quarterbacks who've been drafted in the last 20 years that their team built a team around and won a Super Bowl is the Chiefs and the Eagles. That's it, dude. Like, that's fucking it. That is it.
Since Mahomes has been drafted, there's only one other quarterback that has won a Super Bowl.
With their original team, you mean?
Yeah. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. That's what I mean. So, like, when this story continues to it's only 4 years in, 5 years in as a starter, 4 years in as a starter. So when the story continues to unfold, I think he'll earn an even higher level of accolade. But look, I don't take it personal. I don't really care because what does that change? I just want him to continue to be him because what he's done has worked to this point. And as he always says, the main thing is winning games. I mean, the fans really want a quarterback that throws a lot of yards more than they want to win football games. I want to win football games. So, but the other thing I think that he's going to start to get more credit about it's almost like compound interest. So, how compound interest works. It goes like this, and then you get enough in account, and the compound boom, and then all of a sudden you go from 1 million to 3 million to 10 million. That's compound interest, and that's kind of how I feel like Jalen's career could unfold if he continues because. Somebody in the chat, I'm pretty sure it was Curtis. Curtis in the chat said something earlier in the show today, and he said, I agree with people who say you don't need to be a great quarterback to go and win a Super Bowl. There's been many instances in the NFL where great quarterbacks or not great quarterbacks can go and win a bowl. They have a great team around them. Whatever. Take whatever quarterback you like from that fits that category and put them in. But one thing that's been proven is the only guys who continue to go back and compete for multiple Super Bowls and get to the Super Bowl multiple times are the great ones.
Yep.
That's it. Those are the great ones are the only ones who continue to go back. Not, you get there one time, okay. And that's kind of what I've said to you about some of the things I like about Hurts, where I know he lost 22 Super Bowl, but I add that into his resume now that he's won one. Like that. And if he continues to keep going back, you're like, all right, something is here that's more than meets the eye.
I don't look at that Super Bowl in 22 as a negative now. I told you everything that he did on February 9th of this year. Once he did it, in my opinion, you validate everything that you've done with all the winning that you've done. You think Jalen Hurts is the most underappreciated quarterback in the NFL today? Do you think he's the most disrespected quarterback in the game today?
He's not the most disrespected anymore. No, I don't think so.
I'll tell you what, whenever there's any conversation, he's front and center.
Well, I think there is an element of a lot.
I think he's overtaken Dak.
I definitely think he's overtaken Dak. But
No. I'm talking about in the conversation about how come, because the conversation always does this. Some people like Hurts, some people don't like Hurts. I mean, I've never seen a guy debated more. It's never like this. I told you this the other day. Nobody cares about one on the list. They only care about if Hurts is in the top 5.
Right. Do you think Philly plays into that, though?
A little bit.
People, I mean, a lot of the
getting the reaction from the fans.
Yeah, I mean, just the nature of sports conversation, even us here, right? Like the nature of what we do is dependent on people either agreeing or disagreeing or reacting to what you have to say about football. As a fan base and as a city, as one of us, I can say this, we're a reactive bunch, and Jalen's kind of one of those quarterbacks that it's not like we have a Burrow. or a Mahomes or an Allen. That's like it. Even if you don't like those guys, like you admit their talent, like you know what I mean. You don't deny that. Jalen's one of those guys that's a little bit more subjective. He's not everyone's flavor. Some people love him. Some people don't like him. Some people think he sucks. Some people think he's great. Some people love his mentality. Some people think it's goofy. Like he's one of those guys that so many different people have different opinions on. And I think in a way that gets a little bit used because of the city and because of our reactive nature. But overall, I mean, look, he was a second-round pick, and I think people at this point have given him more credit than he's had in the past. But I do think people will hold some of the things that have happened in his career against him still, naturally, until he proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that they were wrong and he was right.
Who do you think Philadelphia, or who do you think people, when you're looking at Jalen Hurts and you're looking at Nick Sirianni, if you were to look at both those guys, who do you think overachieved more? Nick or Jalen?
Who do I think's overachieved more?
Who's overachieved more as Nick or Jalen? You guys did not like Nick and the flower planting and all that bullshit at the beginning.
Yeah, but the one thing about Jeffrey Lurie, say what you want about him, is he normally does a pretty good job on coaches. And I know Chip Kelly was a bad one, but Doug Peterson worked out.
They all have winning records.
And he typically picks a guy that's not at the top of the mark, that's not like the hot name. He likes to kind of go under the radar. Doug wasn't a hot name in that cycle. Obviously, Sirianni wasn't a hot name in his cycle. So, I don't want to say that he hasn't achieved a lot. Obviously, he has, but I don't know. It's kind of who do you think? I'm curious to hear. I don't know who I would pick as who achieve or overachieved more.
Oh, I think Nick has overachieved a lot right now.
You think more than Jalen, though, who's second pick, not really supposed to be this type of starter, really not ever looked at before the Eagles as a guy that you would select to be the leader of your franchise. I mean, he was kind of like talked about as a perennial backup type guy coming out of college.
Bro, they thought that we've been talking about firing this guy for 4 years.
Yeah, it's true.
2-2, they wanted him fired. They were at the end, like you, Xander, how many times do you say this? At the end of the 11-win season, most teams would kill for that. And guess what? We were talking about firing him. Talking about firing him at the beginning of the year.
I mean, Nick's a little.
You and me were talking of firing him when he was 2-4 in his first year.
Yeah, but I try and be consistent, and I now have the same take on Sirianni that I've said multiple times about Jalen. Where when I look at Sirianni, he is not what I would expect a football coach to be like. He's just not.
No.
But at the end of the day, am I going to put my ego in front of the results? I think it should look a certain way, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of what Nick has done.
Don't they mirror one another, though?
A little bit.
How
many times have I said that about Hurts, though? Everybody wants him to look a certain way, and when he doesn't look that way and wins in his way, they can't quantify that the right way.
Nick, too.
Exactly. 100%. So I'm going to be consistent, and I'm not going to, roast Nick for being a little different than I would expect a coach to look like. But the one thing is for sure is his players like him, man. His players play for him. They do. And I think to your point, he's kind of grown into the role, and learned it a little bit better. And it's always a learning process whenever you start something new. So I think he's done a good job. I think maybe you're right at Nick's maybe the overachiever, but I think it's safe to say both of them have overachieved.
Do you think Jalen could win with another coach?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've seen him win with another coach.
You think Mahomes could win without Andy Reid?
Yeah, I do. Maybe not to the same level, but I think Mahomes is another one of those guys that does whatever the team is calling him to be, whatever version they're asking for him to be. He's kind of got that within him to be able to do it and meet that moment. So, I mean, I don't know. Look at Brady.
They fired.
Most people said Brady would never win without Belichick.
True. They fired. They fired Doug Peterson when Wentz was the quarterback. They brought someone else in, and the thing went to shit. Right?
Well,
they didn't want the quarterback around after that.
Yeah, but remember how it happened.
When they fired Doug, the organization went, we're gonna have a clean sweep here. That's probably not a good combo. to put in there with Wentz because Wentz didn't have Sirianni. So
well, no, remember Wentz when Sirianni first got here, his first press conference, he talked about Wentz.
yes,
He
was brought in to fix him.
We were moving, not really, but like that's how I think they were framing it at the time because it was that offseason that they traded him once Howie could realize he could fleece the Colts for him, which is still a crazy fleece. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a different circumstance there.
Let's get to the super chats here. By the way, don't forget, guys, Xander is going to be doing a show with John McMullen right after us. We'll get the latest. What was it, a walkthrough today?
No, it was just like a shorter practice where I think they kind of were a little lighter.
There's a scrimmaging tomorrow.
Yeah, they got the two joint practices with Cleveland tomorrow and Thursday. They'll have a walkthrough Friday, and then they'll have the preseason game is this Saturday at 1:00. So we'll be working, baby. We'll be here on JAKIB all weekend long. So everybody lock in for sure. Let's get to some supers. We don't have too many right now. Dio says liver transplants aren't a 50-50 proposition unless they've gotten much, much better in the last 6 years. So I'm glad you got him to come on and tell his story and share more of your story. It was really good.
How about this, Xander? I mean, there's a shot that,
yeah,
Bernie's going in the next couple of days to get a liver transplant. So he wanted to do this for us.
Yeah, you hear how he talks about diet, though, Sills? That's something that I live in my life, and there's a very specific reason for this. I've never told this on air, but when I was 16 years old, I was 18 years old, excuse me, and I was a senior in high school, graduating high school to go to college. On my birthday, May 10th of 2018, my birthday, my mom was rushed to the emergency room in what they initially thought was a stroke. She was treated for a stroke. A couple weeks later, second test from a doctor, ma'am, you didn't have a stroke. You had MS. You had a flare-up of multiple sclerosis. So my mom has lived now for the last 8-9 years with multiple sclerosis, and she is completely off her medication now because when this happened, our entire family embraced a new lifestyle of we got to be healthy. And my mom looked into it and does all this research. And I don't want to say she cured her MS because at some point, it could come back. And obviously, our faith is in the Lord that will be protected from that and that, her journey will unfold as it's supposed to. But she's largely gotten rid of every symptom, everything from her MS. She's almost 60. She works out every single day. Wow. She is a beast of a woman, my mother. And, I don't say that to get sympathy, but, it's one thing to say, hey, I want to eat healthier, for vanity. It's another thing to see active things that happen where it helps somebody. My mom is one case. Bernie Kosar, you heard him today. He was supposed to lose his cognitive mind 5 years ago, or whatever he said it was a couple years ago. And he's still with it right now. So it does matter. You should take care of, you should think about what you guys put in your body.
I occasionally have epileptic kind of deals every 5 or 6 years. They happen to me. I'll faint like that. And, it's not serious like that, but I do have that. So, and listen, my wife and my kid both, and you too, you're on my ass about it too.
Well, when I do, I say that of love, not because I'm messing.
No, I got it.
I want Big Sills to be here till he's 122.
I got it. I mean,
he's got his show here on JAKIB as long as he wants it.
Barking away here, man. Hey, that's great about your mom, though, man. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, man. That's no doubt. So it happened on my birthday. It was a crazy time of our life because I was going into college, and I remember that happened.
And your foot.
And I remember my mom saying to me, in the hospital, she said, I'm going to take this head on. I got this. And I remember, I never forget that. And I was like, damn, I got an awesome fucking mom. So that when you're a kid, but sometimes shit happens and you're like, damn, she's stronger than even I knew, and she's 100% Italian. You would love that part. But yeah, she's completely off her medication. She's been off it, but I only took it for a year or two. Read this whole textbook about health and diet and reading and everything and that she's done. So it's kind of been the lifestyle in my family. And for anybody that knows, anybody that follows along with me on some other platforms or, some of the other things I do, my sisters have an Instagram account that's got almost 90,000 followers, Everything Kraus. And they're a lot, they're the type of girls that are into the holistic life, the food and, people think it's just for vanity, but that's how it all started in my family was my mom got diagnosed with MS. We were all scared shitless because my mom was the rock of our family as for most families.
Yeah.
So she attacked it head on, and It definitely matters, no doubt.
Absolutely, man. That's great to hear that. I love that.
Yeah, Kyle Kokorski. What's up, Kyle? He says, Sills, what kind of stats would Campbell have to put up to win Rookie of the Year? Oh, we got this one. Yeah. I thought the stats you said were pretty good.
Like,
I think he's got
tackles, 6 sacks, something like that.
I think he's got to make a big difference on the games.
Yes.
You know, Jared Verse was notable. Quinion Mitchell didn't have the greatest stats last year from an interception standpoint, but he was so notable in the games that he got to the finalist for that award. So
let me look at Will
out and kind of make a difference, and some stats would obviously help get to that point.
Hold on, let me look at Will Anderson, what he did his rookie year, and I'll get a better, because that I think they're going to kind of play him, but and again, he's a little bit of an edge. So he had 45 tackles and 7 sacks, and he was the defensive player of the year. So again, but he's an edge, right? He's an end. So that's a little different. If you're inside linebacker, your tackles would probably have to be a little higher. If he got 90 tackles or 60, 70 tackles and he got 7 sacks, 6 sacks, he'll win the defensive rookie of the year. I would give him I'd give him my vote.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff there. Kimberly says, Z, MS runs in our fam. I was MS wellness manager. Wow, it's pretty cool, Kimberly. Obviously not great that it runs in the fam, but attack it head on, Kimberly. I know you're one of those people as well, so who dives into that. So good stuff, Kimberly. It's definitely been something that has altered the course of all of our lives, but I wouldn't change it. I love that Bernie said that. How about that, man? How about that comment, by the way, from Bernie Kosar? You know, how much guy's been through, what do you say, 100 surgery, how many can cut, all those different things. He said one line that stood out to me, and I try and literally live my life this way. I wouldn't change one part of it. That's what he said.
I know.
Think about being through that and saying that. That's a real that's dope. You know, I try and live my life.
Bro,
like
he was in a coma for 72 hours. He had a stroke.
Crazy, man.
And you know, I mean, believe me, that guy is very close to me. As you could tell, I love that guy, and he's one of my. Like he's like a brother to me. You know, I have very few people that I love like that. And, you know, you're in that circle too, Xander. So, I mean, it's very close. And I think a lot of him, and he's been through an awful lot here, man. It really has.
No doubt. Kimberly, thanks for the super. Appreciate everybody today, man. Good show. We'll have a full night show tonight as well.
Absolutely. Hey, man, great stuff as always. Great news from yesterday on Landon. We appreciate you, Xander. We'll catch you tonight, brother.
Thank you, Sills. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
You got it. By the way, don't forget tomorrow we got Jim Kelly coming aboard with us too. And we will talk to the 4-time Super Bowl. I should say this, four-time AFC champion. That's how I'm going to dub this. Got to pay some bills, guys. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Man, we've had some just massive shows with you guys, and we appreciate all of you. And we're appreciative of having Morgan & Morgan being part of the program as well. Guys, I tell you this, they're the number 1 injury law firm in the entire world. Not just in America, but in the entire world for a reason. It's because they win. Defending families across the country. Guys, thousands of attorneys from Philadelphia all the way across this entire planet. They cover this country and they cover the world, making sure families get proper protection against insurance companies or from whomever that they may need defense. That's what Morgan & Morgan is all about. Do me a favor. Please go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. Tell them Big Sill sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills National Football Show. Hit the like button, guys. Don't forget, Birds 365 at the top of the hour. We're going to do some NFL notes here, too, as we go around the camps. Yeah, I mean, what are you looking at in the joint practice? It's a controlled environment. You got to look at individual pass rushing, you scrimmage, and you get a chance to evaluate in a controlled environment. And really the only thing that you really don't see is tackling and taking guys to the ground. So what are you trying to accomplish? Well, you're evaluating. Right now, the Eagles have, in my opinion, okay, the Eagles have this. They have corner, safety, guard, depending on what that looks like at the beginning of the year with Dickerson. Rotating linebacker, who's that going to be? How much are you going to pay Jahad Campbell, play Jahad Campbell on the edge? And obviously a corner. Who wins that job? What I don't like is that Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson and Bennett are battling for that job. That's not good enough. Now, have you been spoiled? Did Slay and Q... you know what? I got to tell you, don't you agree that we took that combo for granted? I think maybe I did. Didn't we take that combo for granted? Slay and Q. You know, I'm talking last year because he started to become a guy who was in and out of the lineup. Right? That combination, I think we took for granted. Because that's a hell of a combo. Darius Slay and Quinyon Mitchell, that was probably the difference. That had to be one of the differences from 22 to how they won the Super Bowl 8 months ago, right? I mean, Darius Slay, I undervalued his play here. He was a really great football player here. I would make this point to you. Don't you think he's the biggest loss that they had this offseason? Do you think Josh Sweat was a better player than Darius Slay? I don't. Do you think that Milton Williams was a better player than Darius Slay? I don't. Was Gardner Johnson? I don't. Right? Milton Williams is a bigger loss? Doesn't look like it so far. By what everyone's saying about Moro Jomo, they love what they're seeing with the player. Sweat might be a loss because I don't know what Jalix Hunt is. I don't know how good Jalix Hunt. Kyle, I thought he was a Pro Bowler every year he played, Slay, in Philly. He's a really good football player. I mean, well, you don't know that yet. We'll see. He's not proven anything yet. Actually, all the replacements haven't proven anything. The cornerback, the safety, the edge, and the defensive end have not proven one thing yet. I mean, to sit there and go like this, well, those guys will fit. You don't know this yet. Okay? Becton is a huge loss. Now that you see what happened. Tyler Steen is winning that job by default. So let me guess, Marina. You probably think that Tyler Steen's better than Becton, right? Watch this, guys. Hey, Marina, is Tyler Steen better than Becton? Yes or no? I agree. I think the Commanders are legit. I'm with you. Curious how, I mean, the loss of Mekhi Becton, now that Landon Dickerson's hurt. Not even close? In what way? Holy cow. Bradbury. Is Bradbury better than Keely Ringo? You bet he is. 49er fans acting like the 49ers weren't fourth in they got hurt, just like you did. What's their excuse was they had injuries everywhere. 49ers are going to win that division. They're not going to be better than the Rams, but the Rams have a tougher schedule. The 49ers don't. 49ers are going to win that division, dude. They're going to win 12 ball games. They're going to win 11, 12 ball games. They're not going to be better per se than the Eagles because the Eagles will have the fourth toughest schedule. But they don't play any better. Okay, thank you. I'm awake. All right. Out of all the guys we let go and traded, I was salty we didn't re-sign Becton. That's being felt right now for sure. It doesn't matter if Q is a top 5 corner, if the other side has a bottom 5 corner. Now, they're going to travel that to try to cover that. So remember, they're going to try to cover that. Steen and Becton were competing for the right guard last year. Steen injured his ankle. No, bro, looking at it through that lens, it was a year one for both in Vic's system. Steen has a great opportunity. Dude, Steen did not play well last year at all. Even Jason Kelsey was kind of saying that on WIP about a month ago. He may not have won the job at the beginning of the season in September, but that's not a true take. He got beat out, plain and simple. He was not getting it done. And I don't really think he's that great a player. As a matter of fact, I think there's a softness to him a bit. Love when you guys beat Notre Dame. Me too. How about this one too, Steve? 78 points in 2 games that I was involved in, and we only gave up 7. How you doing? Jim Harbaugh, so in Becton, he's a football rain man. They're talking of moving him to left tackle because of the loss of Slater. Can you imagine this? If that guy gets out there and plays left tackle Becton and plays at a Pro Bowl level, okay, what a loss that will be for the Jets. For the Jets. If that guy goes to Philly and plays the way he did and then goes to the Chargers and kicks ass with the Chargers, You got to question what the Jets are doing. Dan Sileo, do you think Steen is better now than last year? Great question. Yeah. Yes. I do. To what extent? That I don't know. Okay? Yes, I do think he's better. I think the more opportunities you get, more chances you get to play in this league and more reps you get, and that the Eagles brought you back and the Eagles want you here, and the Eagles are giving you a shot. Get this, folks. Winning a job in Philadelphia and being offered an opportunity to win a corner, safety, guard, linebacker job on the defending Super Bowl champions versus being on the shitty Cowboys. Where would you rather earn a job? Dallas or Philly? I mean, right? Sills, should I time myself out for saying the Cowboys are legit? Legit what, Texas boy? Quantify legit what? A 500 team? A team that could potentially be a playoff team? In that conversation, I think you're legit there. I think you're a 7-win team. With some breaks, I think you could be a 500 team. But to sit there and say that you're going to be in the conversation with the Eagles and the Rams, the Lions, you're going to have to prove to me more instead of just saying it. One thing too, I'll say this about the Cowboys. I mean, guys, you're all talk. So when you say legit what? He's not wrong. They're not wrong. These takes are not wrong. I mean, they're not wrong. Yeah, this is all true. I'll tell you one thing. If the Dallas Cowboys were the team in Philly, that fan base would come down on them like they were Hulk Hogan jumping off the top rope. They were that way when they were 2-2. It's a different mentality in Philly than Dallas right now. The Cowboys, Alfred Collins, and some draft picks for Michael Parsons, maybe more. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, I want draft picks. You need draft picks. I don't want somebody else's players. Give me the draft picks to build the football team. Dallas doesn't do a shitty job. Okay? Dallas doesn't do a shitty job at drafting. Dallas does a shitty job at contract negotiation, and they do a shitty job at hiring head coaches. Your problem is in the coaching area. You don't have very good assistant coaches. I'll make this point to the Dallas Cowboy fans in here. Player development is terrible in Dallas. Look at Mozzie Smith. He's a bum. And you're playing a bum because Jerry doesn't want to look bad. In Philly, they would fire him. I mean, Jordan Davis is Reggie White compared to Mozzie Smith. He's Reggie White. I mean, and you're playing him. Why are you playing Mozzie Smith? He's fucking terrible. When it comes to corner, Slay said his technique wasn't great. He just was really fast. Remember something, though, David. In a zone, you don't have to be a great technician. What can't a player like Ringo do to expedite his play? Great question. Reps. And shorten that side of the field if you're Vic by traveling Q. Let him have less responsibilities. Just tell Ringo, don't get beat deep. That's all playing zone is. Maybe have your free safety cheat over more to help him in secondary coverage. Okay? Yes, Abe. Abe, you can do this. Let me draw it out here for you. You think we will be a top 15 defense? Yes, I do. And remember, Freddie, remember this. The difference between 5 and 10 is probably a yard. The difference between 5 and 15 is probably 2 yards. So what are you talking about here? You could play like a top 10 defense any week if you're in that top 15. When you're in the top 3, that's a different group of dudes. When you're in that top 3. Here, let me show you something here on how they can help Ringo. Okay, CB, free and strong. Okay, this is the setup here. See this right here? Okay. And you got Ringo here. You slide this guy over more here and you drop him down here. Or you have your nickel you have your nickel on third down, play down here in the middle of the zone. And you're shortening this side of the field so that he doesn't have to cover as much space. So your nickel and your safety can help. Now that's a schematical thing. But you know what you do when you compensate that way? You open up that middle zone more, which means your linebackers have to be able to drop and cover. So the loss of Dean, who did a nice job actually at doing that a year ago, can Jahad Campbell do that? So what you don't want to do, and Vic doesn't want to do that, he doesn't want to expand that zone. Vic wants all the work to be in the middle of the field. Last year, you guys shrunk that thing down to this. This year, I think that zone's going to be more like this, more to cover, more open space. I think you're going to have more open space this year. Last year, it was so limited. And they did such a great job, there weren't a lot of passing lanes. This year, I think there's going to be more passing lanes because of Gardner Johnson being gone and because of Slay being gone. You're going to have more of a space in the middle of that zone. That means the linebackers are Bond's going to be expected to be covering so much more. That's why I don't want to put Zach Bond on the perimeter and rush him. I need him covering the middle of that zone. I might even drop Cooper DeJean down in that nickel even further down and make him more of a rover linebacker so that protects Keeley from having those routes get matured up to his face. What you don't want is those routes getting in his wheelhouse so that they can make a secondary move and take it to the house or come underneath and do wheel routes. So you got to be cognizant of that. He's limited over there right now. Now, again, we got to see it in a game. We've only seen it in practice. Sills, Cowboys fans drink Mai Tais with players who throw snowballs and drinks at players. I never liked Mozzie Smith. I don't even like the Michigan tight end they drafted, Schoonmaker. You know what, too, Texas boy? They asked me on draft day about Mozzie Smith. You know what I said he was? He was a third or fourth rounder at best. I said he did not have feet. He didn't use his hands very well. And I saw it from day one. I never thought he was good at Michigan. I thought he was okay. But I never really thought he was a productive player. I thought his feet were lazy and his hands were lazy. And he got out of position so many times. You see, like Ty Robinson. I was telling you guys earlier about Ty Robinson. He was so poorly coached. You can see it. He lacks engagement, can't get off blocks. He's not very good yet. He can be coached. I think Clint can make an impact on him. But he just doesn't have a lot of skill. So would you rather have Bakuba for coverage or Sidney to be able to tackle. I don't think Sidney can tackle. I think Sidney Brown's a terrible tackler. I don't think he's very good. I think he's good at the initial strike, but wrapping and getting guys on the ground, I don't think he's very good at it. I have not seen him be a good tackler yet. Now, he can track, he can hit, but he has trouble getting on the ground. He's just not a very good form tackler. And that's a skill set you have to have, especially when you're playing safety. He's just not good at it. Ringo gets stage fright. Stop overthinking it. I think that comes with reps, though, Kim. Okay? You want to even throw Danny Noonan in there, you can as well. I mean, they need defensive. Look, I'll tell you what, Texas boy, when the Cowboys become good is when they get run stoppers. If you get run stoppers, your defense with Parsons and the guy, the Fowler on the other side, your defense would be pretty decent. I think your corners are overrated right now, and your secondary is overrated. Why? Because you can't stop the run. You just can't stop the run. Sills is just got off work. I see Ty as a 2 or 3 year development guy. Remember something too. What was he, a 4th rounder? Don't sweat it. He's a 4th rounder, just like they're going to give him Ty like they gave Thomas Booker and like they gave Milton. As long as he continues to show he's getting better, they're going to keep him because they see it. Okay? I see it. Hand placement. He's strong as an ox. He's just got to work on technique. And believe me, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, I mean, you're going to be taught quick or you're going to get plastered into the ground. It can be speed, but it's tackling technique that Sidney needs to work on. You can just run really fast and try to wrap up at the last second. You have to set your feet and make sure you're driving through. The key with tackling, I tell my kid the same thing. The closer your feet are to the guy you're tackling, the less chances of you not missing that tackle. When you break down, stop your feet, and you give that guy space, you're beat in today's NFL. They're too gifted. What did Ty say? I stopped my feet. You're beat. I don't care who you are. You're Reggie White. You stop your feet. Why do you think that hump move that he had was so dynamic? He kept his feet going with leverage. The NFL is a leverage game. It's an angle game. You do everything on angles. You rarely do anything head up. I tell young kids this and young defensive linemen who ask questions. Don't ever do anything head up. Pick a side. Pick a 3 technique, 1 technique. Don't ever do anything because the offensive line, if you line up in a 0 technique or a 2 technique, which is head up, you're beat. You're beat. You've never heard of Reggie White's hump move? Yeah, I know. Okay, you've never heard of Reggie White's hump move. Can't hit a moving target. That's right. But that's a good way to think about it. Okay. See this here? This is what Jordan Davis struggles from a little bit. He struggles from this. Engagement, standing up, you're blocked, and stopping your feet. Again, like I said, you want to watch a guy, figure this out, guys. Aaron Donald's 6 feet. 6 feet. 270. How does he kill people like Mekhi Becton at 6'8", 365 pounds? How does he do that? You would think the physical imposing difference between the two would be on Becton's side. Aaron Donald uses that leverage against him. How? Because he hits angles. He keeps people's hands off him. He moves his feet, and he moves his hands. The moment you stop your feet, it's over. And when you watch Ty Robinson, here's what he does. He engages. He stands straight up. He stops his feet. He's blocked. I don't give a shit who you are. You'll never be good doing that. Never. You don't have a chance. Seals, you think Carter can be better than Dexter Lawrence? Yes. I think Carter could be the best interior defensive tackle in the NFL once Chris Jones starts to slow down, which could, like, I think he's just got to learn better technique. He stands straight up sometimes as well. But what is so good about him, his feet are so fast and his hands are fast. He's got quick hands and quick feet, and that gets him out of trouble. And he's big. He's a hell of an athlete. Okay? Was Ty a wasted pick? No, he's a 4th-round pick. Nothing wrong with the kid. He got shitty coaching at Nebraska. He's got fundamental skills. He did a nice job on that twist, that T-stunt. Came underneath, got up the field, turned his hips. There was some hip movement there where he kind of like did the hula hoop. You know what the hula hoop is, right? Clint Hurt took this from Butch Davis. You put a hula hoop on the ground. And what you do is you lean. You keep your hand inside the circle, and you go all around the hula hoop. Keep practicing the hula hoop. Why are you doing that? Because you get around the defensive ends like that. You get under Mekhi Becton. See, to me, Mekhi Becton, I'm 6'1", too. And how I would beat Mekhi Becton, I'd get on an angle, and I would get lower than him. He's 6'8", I'm 6'1". I have the advantage. He doesn't. He doesn't have the advantage. His arm length gives him the advantage, not his size. Like I said, Aaron Donald is 6 feet. That's right. Low man wins. Can't be told any better than that. Low man wins. Guys who stand up get beat. Jordan Davis stands up. This is why he gets driven off the ball. Ty was talking about that, getting knocked off the football. It's because he's standing up, stopping his feet. It's not hard to see. You can see it. Like, I heard people talking that Ty played pretty well in that game against Cincinnati. Yeah, I don't really think that. I thought he was okay. There were some plays that Vic put him in position to make plays. Do you get it? There's a difference in making plays and a coordinator putting you in position to make plays. He was put in position to make plays with that T-stunt. That wasn't something like, it was a one-on-one pass rush where he got around a guy. That was okay, but that's not that impressive. When you beat a guy and you beat a guy off the line of scrimmage and you see a guy get around a dude, that to me, you're seeing skill set. Guy's hitting an angle. He's in a 3 technique. He's in a 5-7 technique. Runs a guy up the field, comes underneath, can do double moves. Like, watch Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson's got 2 moves. That's the one thing that Jordan Mailata's gotten better at because he used to get beat on that second move, especially on an outside spin. And if a guy spun back inside, he'd get beat on that. But that was just reps for him, too. This is correct. This is what made Warren Sapp a spectacular pass rusher. He was a better pass rusher than John Randall. It's because Sapp got low. Sapp's 6'1" also. And Sapp had tremendous hands and tremendous feet. Remember, he was a tight end when he was in Apaka in high school. He got to the University of Miami. He played tight end. And you want to hear this? He was a colossal bust as a tight end at the University of Miami. They put him over on the defensive side. Rest is history. That's right. Correct. He played, yeah. It's just, again, I just think he needs better coaching. Think about it. Name me a player off that Nebraska defensive program in the last 15 years that's been good. Can you? I can't think of one Nebraska player in the last 15 years that was good. Like who? They're not developing anybody on defense. The days of the black shirts are gone, when they used to shut teams out. I mean, there was a time Nebraska used to produce really good defensive players. Now, then again, they're in a shitty conference. Or they were in that Big 12. Now they're in the Big 10. Sue was the last one. That's right. Sue. Sue was the last really great player. That's correct. Dominic Sue. Dominant college player. One of the best of all time. Maybe, if you want to put it, Neil Smith was pretty good with the Chiefs. Okay? Yep. I go here too. Levante David. But again, they're not really cranking out defensive football players like Ohio State is. Or like LSU. Or Bama and Georgia and those kind of programs. Even Clemson. You're just not cranking them out like they used to back in the day. Penn State puts out, let me say this to you. For Penn State not to have won a national championship over the last 10 years, James Franklin blows. Sills, whose film would you use to teach a person to play the position of cornerback, safety, linebacker, and edge? Great question. Cornerback, Darrelle Revis. That technique that he had on using the sideline and his body at squeezing you closer to the sideline. Aeneas Williams also did that same technique with physical wide receivers. Man, those two guys did such a great job at using the field, using their body weight, and playing the corner position for being big dudes. Aeneas Williams used to give Michael Irvin all he could handle. He's a really great football player. Hall of Famer. Safety position. Great question. Cam Chancellor. Today's NFL, Cam Chancellor. Tone setter. Could break on a football. Tremendous hitter. You know, Derwin James is in that conversation. Derwin James. Okay? All right. Defensive tackle. Aaron Donald. I would not have a problem putting Fletcher Cox as a game film on how to play defensive tackle. Okay? I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. And also, at edge, today's edge. Myles Garrett. He'd be the guy. All right, guys. Don't forget, Birds 365 right after the program. Pay some bills here. Big sales here for Morgan & Morgan. Guys, we're so proud to have them part of the program here, folks, and we really appreciate them sponsoring the program, the number one injury law firm in all of America, and they are for a reason. They are because they win. Like I told you about the family that was initially going to be offered $650,000, and it came in where Morgan & Morgan got that family $30 million in a settlement. Or how about this, $350K to a family down in Florida. They ended up getting that family nearly $15 million in recovery. Folks, if you're hurt in an Uber anywhere, if an insurance company's taking advantage of you, like those poor folks out in Los Angeles with all the fires, Morgan & Morgan is there for you. Do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show, and I got to tell you guys, Bernie really enjoyed being on the program and being on JAKIB. Okay? I mean, he really enjoyed it. And I did think it was inspirational as well. I love it. Hey, by the way, is Texas Boy in here? Let me just put this out there. So now the Texas media and the Cowboy media is trying to compare the holdout with Michael Parsons to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith didn't have a contract anymore. His contract had run out. Emmitt wanted a new contract. That's why he didn't play. Okay? I mean, the comparisons are nowhere near the same. People forget Emmitt wasn't a holdout. That was not a holdout. You remember when Emmitt held out? He never held out. Emmitt's contract had expired. Teams were offering him more money. He didn't want to. He was a free agent. But the Cowboys had first right. Something like that. Emmitt didn't have a deal. And so the Cowboys came in. He sat for 2 games. And then the Cowboys came in. That's right. Emmitt was a free agent. And there were teams that were offering him more money. And he said, okay, he was going to go. I forget. I think there was a deal on the table for Denver. I think Seattle had offered him money. There was a bunch of teams that started offering Emmitt Smith money. And Emmitt goes, okay, so he's listening to the highest bidder. The Cowboys came in and said, hey, look, 2 games. Remember, he sat out 2 games. They went 0-2. They won the Super Bowl that year. Trying to compare it to Micah Parsons is a joke. What's Emmitt's real name? Emmitt Smith. He's from Pensacola, Florida. One of the greatest high school football players in the history of Florida football. I think he gained like 12,000 yards or 13,000 yards in high school. He was an insane high school football player. He was always going to go to the University of Florida. Yeah, he's a Gator. He just didn't want to leave because he saw something special. That's right. Well, Jerry thought he was going to be cute. They went 0-2. And then he came to his senses and gave Emmitt what he wanted. Yeah, I mean, he was never a free agent. Well, look, Emmitt had to hold out. Emmitt could have signed with anybody. He wanted to play in Dallas. He was loyal to the organization. Yeah, I don't know if that record got broken. I don't know if that high school record, but he was one of those guys that was faces in the crowd. The old Sports Illustrated in the back, where they used to have faces in the crowd. I think Emmitt gained like 12 or 13,000 yards in high school. Think about that. All right. That means you're 4,000 yards rushing every year. Or like 3,000 yards rushing every year. Something crazy he was. They won a couple state championships. I think also Derek Brooks is up from that neck of the woods. He should have signed with the Eagles. I bet the Eagles offered him money. But they probably didn't have the O-line that Dallas had. Okay? I mean, I think that was the case. They didn't have the O-line that Dallas had, or that would have made sense signing in Philly. But then again, I think if I'm not mistaken, that was still Norman Brayman. He's not playing for Norman Brayman. He'd have played for Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey Lurie probably would have came in and gave him the money. I bet you anything that he would have came in and gave him the money. I think Emmitt made that great wall. Got to remember, like I told you guys, Mark Tuney and Nate Newton and Stepnoski was a Jimmy draft. And Kevin Crawford Kerr and Kevin Gogan, Nate Newton, Mark Stepnoski. Who's the other guy? Crawford, and then there was another tackle there. All those guys were, except for Stepnoski, all those guys were Tom Landry guys. They were all Landry. Eric Williams didn't come until a couple years later. Jimmy didn't have him yet. I know Eric May came in on the same year that maybe Emmitt did. Bernie was such a great guest. I love people who fight. Just lost my dad and uncle in 3 months to cancer, but they fought to the end. I'll tell you this, guys. Seeing Bernie like having lost that much weight was not – I hadn't seen him in a bit. And he's lost a lot of weight. I'll tell you this. Bernie Kosar is not the football man he was and is. He's probably gone. He's probably gone a couple of years ago. Okay, I mean, that dude matters to all of us. Believe me when I tell you, we are very sensitive, us Hurricane family brothers, to guys like that. Very sensitive. he said something great to me too. He goes, you matter, and I go, I got it. We're some of the guys, we matter to that program. I'm one of the guys too. That I get it. I know, but he does too, and he matters, man. I mean, I can't tell you how tough. You heard him too. Seriously, he went into the supplemental draft. I went in a supplemental draft because of Bernie Kosar. Bernie was the first round pick. I was a third. And he wanted to go play pro. And I said, well, Bernie could do it. I could do it. And he total inspirational guy. Oh, absolutely. I absolutely love the guy like my brother. So that's family by choice. Absolutely true. You kidding me? Every single one of those guys, like Alfredo Roberts, who's the tight end coach currently right now with the Steelers. I talk to him all the time. Michael Irvin, you could see the way we talk with one another. And you could see how again, Brian, not quite the same today with those younger kids. Because we had to fight for more when we were younger. We fought more. By the way, speaking of that, let me tell you guys who we got on tomorrow. It's a pretty good guest list here. So tomorrow we have Jim Kelly, Howard Eskin, and Marcus Hayes. That's tomorrow's guest. Jim Kelly, Howard Eskin, and Marcus Hayes. Those guys will be on with us. 1985 to 1987. Hey, they've been getting better and better, right? Well, football season must be here. Speaking of that, guys, Joe Krause and John McMullen are going to be giving you a Birds 365. I don't know what practice was today. I heard it was a lighter practice because of the joint practices that they have tomorrow. Okay, and then they're going to play on Saturday as well. So we're going to have a lot going on here. And again, this weekend too, I would imagine. And it's going to be a lot to cover here, and we're going to be right all over this. Guys, I appreciate you. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for being here. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.